patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
A stunning spell from Josh Hazelwood late last night has put England on the back foot yet again. But Ben Stokes and Johnny Bairstow are out there. Can they raise the spirit of Cape Town 2016? That would be lovely to see. Or will England be bowled out twice in the day, as Grubby has been suggesting to me overnight? Forever the optimist.
Just said it was a possibility.
Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Gorilla Cricket. I am Cat-Sitting Hendo, or Gorilla Hendo. I'm a man of many aliases. And on my left, I have the mighty Grubby himself, Paul Howarth.
Hello!
He's on the tweets today, or he is for the first half an hour or so.
You didn't tell me it was all day.
No, we might put you on there, and
Yeah,
maybe we
why
get
not?
donations to keep you there all day, like we did with Tony once.
Yeah.
And on my right, of course, it's a stalwart of the show. It's Snackle M. Pandy.
Morning, Hendo. Morning, Grubby. Good morning, everyone, or whatever time of day you prefer. Hazelwood was superb after brilliant work from Pat Cummins, bowling 10 overs, number 22. A superb wicketless spell where he had Joe Root in particular in real trouble, hitting him here, there, and everywhere, hitting Rory Burns on the gloves a couple of times, going past the outside edge repeatedly. But just as it looked like they were getting through that spell, Hazelwood came on and was just surgical, and well backed up by Nathan Lyon at the other end. It will be the inheritor to Ryan Harris, both attacking and defensive bowler, starting up for Australia.
Paceman Pat and his baggy green cap. Early in the morning, just before the warm-up, he has to pull out with a dodgy back.
And it's one half of the orangery to face up.
Johnny Bestow's smarter than the average Bairstow. Johnny Bestow's been this good since daycare, so all put on your wigs and let the crimson have.
Here comes Cummins. to bowl to Bairstow. 3 slips awaiting, and he leaves the ball outside off stump through the keeper. Well done, Johnny. You survived 1 ball. It's 200 for 5. Just to remind you, England trail by 297. The first target will be get to 298 and prevent thoughts of a follow-on. We were talking this morning about whether they would impose the follow-on. Knackle is of the mind that they would, because there's not a lot of time left in the game. Grubby, your views on this?
Well, the other thing they could do is give themselves 25 or 30 overs, smash it around, give Warner licence to go out and smack it to all parts, and then put us back in.
We should remember, of course, that the new ball is due in 5.5 overs, so that'll be tough for these two. Flicked away off the straight by Johnny Bairstow. Played quite nicely in the end, down to long leg. He takes the single. The first run of the morning, he moves to 3. Stokes is on 7.
Yeah, it's Cummins from the Statham end, and it looks like it's going to be Nathan Lyon from the James Anderson end, where he operated in an unbroken 15-over spell either side of tee yesterday, and was excellent. A little bit unlucky. Had Joe Root in particular trouble. He was able to drag Root forward, which is not somewhere Root likes to be off the spinners. That single brings the hero Headingley on to strike.
Ben? Ben Stokes.
Averaging 83 in this year's Ashes. Where England need him to be at his destructive best. It's almost as if they want him to do what Steve Smith's done and be the man to stand out amongst all others. In comes Cummins and bowls to him, and he leaves the ball more or less on length, really. Just outside off stump probably, but too high to trouble the stumps as well.
Yeah, and you can do that on this pitch. It's still pretty true even early on the 4th day, obviously kind of in the middle of the 3rd day in terms of actual play. Significant turn though for Nathan Lyon, and which was, as I say, troubling Root. And actually Burns, I think, played him very well yesterday.
Yeah. Well, one thing they were saying about the turn as well is that it's relatively consistent.
It is.
And the bounce is relatively consistent. So once you've been there for a few balls, you can see how much it's turning. You can sort of line him up.
What Root was best able to do, he was playing him at his best. I'll come to that after this ball from Cummins.
2 slips in the gully for the left-handed Stokes, as Cummins is in over the wicket. Oh, and he left that with even less to spare, in my opinion. It was a much fuller delivery, but well judged.
So Root was very happy when Lyon was bowling over the wicket and not quite able to drag Root forward. Root was able to go back and across, get himself outside off stump, take LBW out the equation, and then work to leg. Then they put in David Warner at short fine leg to stop that as a run scoring option, and then Root had to come up with something else. And every time he came forward to him, he wasn't quite as certain. And eventually, I think Rory Burns, decided to play more of Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, he inside edged him a lot, didn't he?
Yes.
Yesterday.
That's another thing to think about, of course, is with regards to the follow-on, is bowling Nathan Lyon later in the game, effectively. Short ball pulled by Stokes, and pulled really well. Josh Hazelwood hasn't got far to go down there at long leg, but he's not even going to bother, just jogging round to collect the ball. Stokes moves into double figures. England 205 for 5.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
The bowlers are pushing that front line all the time. There's another one there that, if we looked at it closely, might again be a no ball.
Cummins bowled a couple of absolutely massive no balls yesterday.
Were they both called though at the time?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, because they're not always called, as we know, and I'd like to see that one up close.
Apparently Leach had bowled a few front foot no balls before the one that was actually called.
Ooh,
Shameful stuff.
They've got to sort that out, haven't they?
By the way, that was a great bit of classic fast bowler fielding at long leg by Hazelwood.
Yes.
There's the ball. No, can't get it. No.
Really, I've got a bowl in a minute, for goodness sake. Outside the off stump again, Foolish, left alone by Stokes. We should say hello to people on Twitter this morning, if you've joined us.
Well, a few people have joined us on Crick Tracker. I'll say hello to Nadeem Naz, to Sanjeev K. Mahana, and to Farhad Totakil also. Hope that England wins, says Farhad. Well, some of us would share that as well. Linux Lee has been in touch this morning. I've warned her off the German, but she says, in a totally unrelated question, how's your Swedish? Tack så mycket. Now, Dave Wood is with us. Good morning and happy doomed day. Messi Jez is complimenting you, Knuckle, on your West Wing T-shirt.
Thank you.
Hello, Messers. Hope you're well, sir. Umpire Bell, morning gorillas, time to batten down the hatches and man the barricades. This is going to be a very difficult task. Hashtag park the bus. Hashtag England expects.
Park the bus. Now, there's an idea. How many people can we get in front of the stumps to keep the ball out? Anyway, it is going to be Nathan Lyon, and he has a jingle that goes like this. Yes.
Got a little glimpse of Usman Khawaja looking a lot happier than he did on day one.
Exactly what I was going to say, yes. I don't know what's happened. Maybe you've been out for a nice meal or something.
Always cheers me up.
Yeah,
Food.
On the Curry Mile.
Possibly, yes, indeed. 205 for 5. It's Johnny Besser, the right-handed Johnny Bairstow, who's going to face Lyon to start with. He's going to be bowling over the wicket. He's got a slip and a forward short leg, and he just goes back, as England players like to do against spin, and just eases this down into the ground and into the hands of the man close in there on the leg side.
It's interesting you say that. I think Joe Denley is the only one of England's top order who is actually comfortable coming down the track and actually looks good coming down the track.
Well, he likes to drive, doesn't he? He does like to cover drive and get there. So this is thrown up. This time he stays in his crease, but does come forward a little way and defends it with a full face of the bat.
I was trying to work out yesterday what Joe Burns' favourite shot is, and I think it's the punch
Rory
through the
Burns.
covers.
Rory Burns.
What did I say?
Joe Burns.
Did I? Sorry.
Who actually
Rory Burns, sorry.
Was
It's
probably-
the punch through the covers off the back foot. I
Joe
think
Burns
is
is probably unlucky not to make the Aussie squad.
Yeah, that's true.
He's in again, and forward comes Bairstow with an over-elaborate defensive stroke.
There's a lot of Strauss to Rory Burns. He cuts really well.
Yeah, he does,
he
yeah.
was very quick on the short ball when Lyon dropped it
Yeah.
short, and he's good off his hips as well.
It's very good off his legs, very good round there, isn't he? He's, as I say, when I watched him for the first time, as Lyon is in, goes back to this one, it turns past the leg stump, taken by Payne. I was aware of how much he seems to like to cut in front of square.
Yes.
A long way in front of square if he can. Maybe that's to do with playing on a lot of slow pitches.
And also, he picks up the length really early.
He does play a little bit low. That's what worries me when he gets to face short pitch bowling a little bit. Although he did seem to play it a lot better yesterday. This one turns into Bairstow as he goes back, and he just eases it off his legs to a short, fine leg.
You know, he's averaging 46 in the series, and what is it? The rest of the openers on both sides put together have scored fewer runs than he has.
Yeah.
And averaging about 12 each or something. So, yeah, he's certainly found some sort of secret to success in this series, whereas no other opener has.
Lyon again to completely over. Flatter this time. It goes past the man at short leg. It's going to be an easy single for Bairstow, who will keep the strike. 206 for 5 is the score. England trail by 291. Now, don't forget the GPL is open. The Guerrilla Prediction League, which is our daily competition. You go to guerrillacricket.com, find competitions, register if you haven't, pay us £1 and estimate how many runs you think will be scored in the day. You can go for 3 or 4 if you want to give us £4, but it's £1 a go. And in the pot at the moment, we think
He is £127.
£127. So if you get it on the nose, you would win £127. Now that is not to be sniffed at.
It would actually be at least 128 if you've added to
Indeed,
it. Well,
£127, and
yeah.
will only go up with more entries. That closes at lunchtime, so at 1 p.m. UK time.
Please get on that. It helps us to continue. It's a lot of fun. It makes the end of the day even more exciting than it usually is. Cummins into Bairstow, plays at this outside the off stump. A little bit of slight movement away, beats Bairstow and goes through to Payne.
I mean, you talk about Burns on the short ball. There was some analysis before play, because there was quite a long time to fill because of the loss of the morning session, about Rory Burns kind of getting squared up and getting front onto that short ball and getting into trouble with that. I think yesterday he was better able to play those balls that are slightly into his front armpit, which is a difficult place to play the short ball, without getting so squared on that he couldn't drop his hands.
I also thought that he ducked the ball a lot better yesterday, actually. A couple of balls that might have gone up into his armpit, he got well underneath. Cummins bowls outside the off stump, rising as it goes through to Payne, who's jumping on his tiptoes to get to that one.
And then on a couple of occasions he was able to get right on top of the ball, drop the bottom hand off the bat, and sort of, even though it hit his glove, it would go straight down.
Yeah. And we saw some of the Australian batsmen as well. I'm thinking Labuschagne in particular, who was getting further over to off when he was facing Archer and able to duck underneath the ball. And also, I suppose, the kind of the relatively even bounce of this pitch
and
help.
as unlike, for example, Lords, where the ball wasn't getting up off a length. Labuschagne in particular was trying to get sort of off to the offside and let it go. Sort of, he was saying outside the line.
Well, he was bending and allowing it to pass over the back of him, I think is what you're saying. He's in again, Cummins, on driven by Johnny Bairstow. Quite a nice, sweetly timed stroke, but Mitchell Stark just moves swiftly to his right to field that, and there is no run.
Yeah, it looks as though Stark and Hazelwood are going to take the new ball.
I'm not surprised that Labuschagne would be playing that way, because that bouncer, which comes back in off the seam from Archer, is terribly frightening.
If you're
And
static at the crease.
well, it's not so much that, it just follows you. If you're trying to sway out of the way of it, it's just going to follow you. And I think he's worked out that's what's going to happen. So he tries to get inside it and allow it to pass over his the back of his neck or the nape of his neck.
I thought it was a clever bit of adjustment from him.
Cummins in again, bowls to Bairstow. This time he leaves outside the off stump. And it goes through to the keeper. Any more tweets?
Yes, Pirate Badshah Mutiny is with us saying, good morning, old salts. Stokes can't save England again, can he? Also, what a pity that Mohamed Nabi is going to end his fledgling Test career after only 3 Test matches.
Yes, indeed. He's making way for younger players by his own admission. He hasn't scored many runs in this Test match. Got I think a first ball duck in the first innings and has been dismissed for a low score in the second innings.
How old is Nabi?
Mohamed Nabi is 36.
That's
That's
age.
very good.
No
isn't it?
age.
That's
No
no
age.
age.
No age.
It is Nana. It's 36.
3 slips waiting as Cummins approaches, bowls to Bairstow, and Bairstow is forward determinedly and defends into the offside. There is no run.
Beg your pardon, Manish Durakar is also with us on Crick Tracker. Hello to you, Manish, saying draw. He's predicting a draw, Manish.
Yeah, I think the draw is favourite from here.
Well, I'd be quite happy with the draw.
Yeah, I'll be delighted with the draw, of course. Yeah, Devin Wade is with us on Twitter saying, morning lads, 5:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, ready for a full 2 days of cricket ahead. If these two redheads can build a 100 partnership, you guys can really push for the draw. Long way to go.
Should
that the truth?
Should give a shout out to Devon, who became a patron,
thank
patron
you.
yesterday.
Thank you, Devin.
In comes Cummins, final ball of the over, and Bairstow just guides it out on the offside quite comfortably. It's the end of the over. It's 206 for 5. Bairstow 4, Stokes 11.
Mog has tweeted in saying, I'm going to tweet right now because I know Grubby won't get my name wrong and will manfully pronounce any weird languages I try using. It also looks like you've attached something there, which has come up, a picture, which has come up with a kind of a cross through it, which means that Twitter's censored you, I'm afraid, Mog. Messi Jez has tweeted something, retweeted something from quite interesting Wikipedia or something, saying, word of the day, argle bargle, copious but meaningless talk of writing. Have they never heard of wibbling, says Messi.
That's QI's Twitter account.
Oh yeah, QIkipedia. Thank you very much.
Freddie Flintoff's in the house. He's obviously putting his oar in, saying I want to be the next coach because well, obviously I've got so much experience.
Well, I said this, we talked about this yesterday and got onto other things about Andrew Flintoff. I'm pretty sure the way that went is someone asked him, Freddie, would you like to be coached? And he said, yes, I would.
Well, he apparently has got a coaching qualification. I'm not sure what level of coaching qualification he has. I think it's going to be a little bit way down the line if he wants to fulfil that particular ambition.
We saw him yesterday getting stuck into the Guinness. He's currently drinking a tiny cup of coffee.
Oh, yes, lovely. Lyon then to Stokes. He loves having the left-hander down there, and it turns out of the footmarks. But well left by Stokes. This is the thing, isn't it? He loves bowling at left-handers. He loves bowling at Stokes. I mean, however good Stokes has been, he's had troubles with Lyon. Even at Headingley, he was beating him quite regularly, finding the edge.
He's survived, but it's not been comfortable.
Not really. Here he is again in bowls. Straightens from leg stump. And he's right back, defending with the full face of the bat, pushing the ball up the pitch.
He's got a lot of company. He's got a slipper gully and, well, the silly mid-off was in there, but I think now may have moved to short leg. And a sort of shortish... Oh, no, there he is.
Is that 3 or 4? Have they brought another man in at short leg? They've got a silly mid-off, a slip and a gully. The gully was well forward, and he's in again. He goes back and waits for this one, and then just eases it out through that little coterie of close fielders to the man at cover.
Yeah, well, I mean, even the cover's up a little bit. It's almost sort of a short cover point.
So Lyon, collar turned up ever so slightly, tongue hanging out, and turns this again outside off stump, but Stokes leaves it. He's got to be aware of the one that goes straight on or that just comes into him.
Well, that as you were saying, Grubby, that kind of hasn't been the case. The turn has been very consistent.
Sorry, I was just smiling at Hendo's description of collar up, tongue out, like he's some sort of Labrador.
Well, he is. He's a bit of a puppy, isn't he? He's a bit of a pup. Oh, now he goes back. Oh, I'm surprised he hit that one. I thought he'd in the end let it go, but he's actually steered it quite nicely out to the man at deep backward point, and he'll take a single. England moved to 207 for 5. 2 overs and 1 ball now before the new orb becomes available.
Yeah, which I imagine they will take on.
Yes.
Sort of greyish skies. Just in general, I think it's seems like a sound plan. Mitchell Stark did not bowl well at all yesterday. Let's see if he can be better.
Well, I didn't see much of him yesterday, but he bowled quite wildly. There's a couple of overs he bowled on the at the end of the evening when England's innings started. Now that he's padded up to that, Bairstow, and there's a big appeal as it turns into him.
Well,
I'm not
I
so
think they
sure
might
about
review
that.
this.
I think
Erasmus,
they might.
Erasmus has got to be guessing though if he's going to give that
of
out.
course,
true.
yeah,
It's true.
They're getting as well.
They've not
Have
bothered.
they still got two? No,
they've only
one
got
left.
one.
Okay, well they've. Yeah.
Yeah, they wasted the review yesterday en route where
Yeah.
it
En route.
smashed, it smashed
where?
into his back pad so hard that he started limping and had to take a painkiller, but he was clearly outside the line.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious. There was this moment when he was hit in that particular incident, which left him needing treatment. So was the box incident earlier?
That was a separate incident.
That was a
Yeah.
completely separate incident.
Pat Cummins broke his box.
Ah, right. Yes, I did see a picture of that. That must have brought sort of water to the eyes of David Lloyd, remembering his days against Thompson. That would have missed. That would have just. Well, it was accurate enough in terms of line.
Yeah.
It would have just been a bit too high.
Yeah, it would. Our friend Morgan Hauptfleisch is with us, checking in from Windhoek. Hello, Morgan. Ravi Nair is with us. Hi all. Both telly and Wi-Fi are foobar in the heaviest rains.
Cummins starts a new over, and Stokes quite happily lets that one pass.
So
Late rains.
So few, thank goodness for phone data and you. We're going to lose this? He questions. Don't know. Durban Oak. Woy Pom has sent us a picture of some pigs' heads.
Why?
In Leeds, I'll attempt to find out
Oh, right,
with the accompanying text.
Okay.
It says, in Leeds, gearing up for an afternoon at the Leeds International Beer Festival, with Beardy Ed, of course you are, was going round Leeds Market and found some of the current government front bench.
Oh, or one or two Steve Smith alikes, I suppose.
Indeed.
Cummins running in, bowls. Oh, he's had a go at that. He's driven there with a little bit on the move there, Stokes, and he's annoyed with himself. He walks away and shakes his head rather vigorously, looks down at the ground and says, "What were you thinking, mate?
It's gone a
What were
long way
you
off the
thinking?"
seam, hasn't it?
He chased it a little bit though, and well, he tries to pretend that he's taking his bat inside the line right at the end, but I think we all know the
Yes.
truth, Ben.
Yes, off screen he's currently beating himself over the head.
With a kipper.
Yes, or even a wet. I forgot what it was now from the Victoria Woods song. Here's Cummins again into Stokes, and Stokes flicks that away nicely off his legs down to long leg Starkfield.
Are you
Beat
saying
me on the bottom with the Woman's Weekly.
That's the one. That's the one.
You know as well as I do that those tiles want grouting. That's my favourite line in that.
I can handle half the tenors in a male voice choir. What a great song that is.
Oh, yes.
The,
Utter
the Ballad
genius.
of Barry and Frida.
Genius.
Superb.
Saeed Alam is with us on YouTube. Hello, Saeed, who is predicting an Australia win. Well. 3 holes in the ground.
Yep, 208 for 5. Now, what have we got here for Johnny Bairstow? We've got 3 slips. We've got a shortish extra cover.
It was in there all day for the right-hander yesterday.
Mid-off, backward point, mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg. And Cummins is approaching. He's past the umpire. Bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow throws his hands up and his bat way above his head, getting out of the way of that.
Marcus Harris and Matthew Wade were rotating in that position, and actually for a lot of the time for Joe Root he was quite a bit squarer than that, almost a sort of, rather than short extra, which is where Harris is now, they had him at sort of short, almost short cover point. I guess the thinking is that Bairstow drives down the ground more, whereas Root tends to play square of the wicket a lot.
Yep.
Wade's been very chirpy in that position as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's currently Harris in there. I think Wade is at mid-off.
So, England trail now by 289. Scored 8 runs this morning. So, slow progress, but progress it is. Cummins in, full ball, clipped, beautifully played by Bairstow and terribly fielded by the man at mid-on. I think it might have been Stark. He
That's
tried
Hazelwood.
to scoop it. Was it Hazelwood? He tried to scoop it back. He's had now to chase it within 5 yards or so of the boundary rope. They got through for 3, and then the throw is wild, and Bairstow for a moment thinks, oh, there might even be a 4th here, but they decide against it in the end. So just the 3.
Root had an all-run 4 yesterday,
Yes,
didn't
very early yesterday. I think the outfield was pretty slow with the rains.
Yeah.
Would you like some odds?
Yes,
Oh,
please.
why not?
Yeah, from our friends at Betway. England 50-1. The draw 11-10. Australia 8-11.
he? Okay.
So maybe some value in the draw there,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Betway.com/GC Radio.
Absolutely, sign up there, and we will be your friends forever.
will
211
Betway.
for 5, as there will be, it's 2. Bairstow moves on to 7. And Cummins is about to bowl the final ball of his 20th over. He's into Stokes, and Stokes goes back, drops it into the offside. He was looking for the quick single, got it straighter than he wanted, and the ball bounced its way to mid-off, and he decided against it. It's the end of the over.
Talking of friends, whoever's account this is coming through, the Twitter thing, is celebrating 10 years of friendship on Facebook with one Daniel Norcross.
Oh my goodness.
That will be the
me.
bear. Oh, I'm celebrating an anniversary. This is the 5th anniversary of my first appearance on Guerrilla Cricket.
Really? I don't think I remember. I mean, the only way that I can remember my first appearance on Guerrilla Cricket is the fact that it was the very first day of Guerrilla Cricket. So whatever day it was, I think it was the 9th of July, wasn't it? Something like that.
Well, I remember my first game was the T20 at the end of the England-India series. I looked up the date and
there
we
you
are.
go. Indeed, indeed.
And my first day was the 24th of June 2016, the day after the referendum.
Ah.
Because we opened the show with If You Leave Me Now by 10cc. No, not 10cc.
Nicely played by Bairstow as Lion starts a new over. He rather shovels this, but quite rapidly with a little bit of bottom hand past the diving Lion. The mid-on is set deep, so there's an easy single. He goes to 8, 212 for 5.
Lions are not known for their diving abilities.
Yes, probably
If
true.
You Leave Me Now is by Chicago? Is that
Chicago.
right? Chicago, that's what we opened with. Memories, eh?
Yep, Stark is going through a number of exercises, so maybe he's going to be on with the new ball. We shall see. Lion now back round the wicket to the left-handed Stokes. He's in, he bowls, he's forward, he defends. The ball just rolls slowly up the pitch, and one of Nathan Lyon's fielders comes and does the business for him.
Lavashane's moved from the silly mid-off to gully, and Warner's moved from gully to short mid-wicket.
I thought it was Warner, and then I thought maybe not, because there are one or two short arses in this Australian team. Travis Head being another, Matthew Wade. He's in again, pitching it on leg stump, flicked away by Stokes, but they were looking to see whether there would be a single there, but Warner has put in a massive dive. He's got a big long sleeve jumper on today. He did very well there at square leg.
Fielded by a short ass.
Indeed. And maybe I'll
That
just
should be
say
a fielding position,
Say
shouldn't
short ass. He's coming at short ass. Thrown up this time and driven by Stokes. Sweetly played up to mid-off, but rather too quickly for him to come through for a single. 212 for 5.
There's been a lot of very harsh criticism of Nathan Lyon because he's not had the figures that necessarily he had at Edgbaston since Edgbaston.
Yeah, this time Stokes goes back, the ball straightens, and he plays it to Warner. That's a short mid-wicket. Yeah, but,
I think he's bowled really well.
he is bowl. You can bowl well without taking wickets, can't you? We've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was quite at his best at Headingley, but I think he's bowled very well here, admittedly none for 71.
Yeah, and you wouldn't put it past him having another of those special days, defended back to him this time by Stokes. And that is the end of the over. I think it was a maiden, wasn't it? No, they got the one right at the beginning of the over. 212 for 5.
Our friend Sally R56, Imagine, is with us saying, if the cricket doesn't go as I hope today, fortunately I can watch Hendo's favourite team, MK Dons, play the dastardly Wimbledon later. Ooh,
What did you say?
Fighting talk,
What
fighting
did you
talk.
say?
Harry Trapp says, listening in at Cookie's Driftwood Bar on the beach in Bali, watching the sunset. Hello to everyone at Cookie's Driftwood Bar in Bali.
Sounds
We're not
brilliant.
in any way jealous, you bastard. Nick Martin is with us. They only got those jobs by sleeping with David Cameron, he says about the pig heads. Dave Wood, given half a chance, says Flintoff is just behind Steve McLaren in the reckoning for new head coach. Who else we got? F.I. Dave, morning all. The girlfriend is spending the day wedding dress shopping with her friends. I've a frying pan. Is she marrying you, by the way?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've a frying pan full of sausages and rashers and looking forward to spending the day with Guerrilla Cricket. I know the drill when the cat's away. And Mog says, good thing Cummins smashed Root's box and not his wife. Oh dear. That's
Oh dear.
Well, no.
some sort of strange fighting talk there.
Well, the orb has been taken. And it'll be flung by this flan flinger.
He's had no swing! No swing since Cape Town! No swing since Cape Town! No swing since Cape Town!
I love this.
Yeah, yesterday. Actually, wait, has the new ball been? take. I'm not quite sure.
It's available now. Maybe he's going to bowl one with the old ball and then take it. We shall see. I can't imagine that they brought him on just to bowl with the old ball. Anyway, 3 slips waiting, short extra cover as we said before, much the same. The field for him, left arm over the wicket, bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow goes back, allows the ball to come on and then opens the face, runs it to backward point, and there is no run.
A couple of shout outs to our Cricket Tracker watchers. Hello there. Norm Chong says hello from Camden, New South Wales. Hello to you, Norm. Rizwan Hassan Khalid says best of luck Australia, and Arshad Ali says hi all friends, how are you? We are tip top, fine and dandy. Thank you, Arshad, thank you for being there.
I'm fearing a double whammy of sporting nastiness today.
I think you're right. Yeah, one ball with the old ball,
just to loosen up.
They do that sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Because I'll be, batting for England as it were here, and then watching the mighty Real Dons take on the franchise in the other room at 12 o'clock. So I may be missing for an hour or two.
You may hear some noises off.
Screams.
Listeners.
There may be screams of anguish.
Or squeals of delight.
Or squeals of delight. Who can say? Who can say? We shall see. 212 for 5. He's going to bowl the first ball with... I love new cricket balls. They are just so gorgeous. In he comes then. He's got a short mid-wicket now. He's bowling over Bairstow, and that did come back, and that did not miss the off stump by very much at all. That really was close.
Left on length, I think.
Sheesh.
My mum's been in touch again.
Oh.
Barbara, good morning. Yeah, Barbara's been in touch. Good morning, Gorilla Paul and team, she says, like it's my team. Of course, it's my mum. Love that tweet about Grubby manfully tackling any language, she says. Well, that would be from Linux Leah.
Yeah, that's the first ball Mitchell Stark's got to swing this entire innings.
So, no swing since Old Trafford a ball ago is the new jingle that we require. Here he comes. Running up to the crease, bowls to Bairstow. This one again comes back into him and he shovels it out to extra cover. Looking for a full line. That was one of the problems. He was too short bowling overnight.
Yeah, because because the ball wasn't swinging, he had to drag his length back, and then he's nowhere near as effective. And we saw that in the World Cup too. He was alternating between bowling maidens too wide of off stump and getting too straight and just being pulled. So he bowled. Of his 11 overs, 5 of them were maidens.
Yeah.
6 of them went for 41.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that when the figures came up just a moment ago, that when he's been hit for a few. Now, is there some sort of field change being made? He's standing at the end of his run. He's rubbing the ball not like it needs much more shine at the moment. It's 2 balls old. Here he comes again, working up a lather, and in he comes, and it swings ever so slightly back into Bairstow. Starts too wide. He does have good judgment on this occasion, lets it go.
Yeah, that first ball with the second new ball, the second of this over, it did swing in appreciably, but it went past a fair way over the stumps.
It's slightly too short.
Well, no, it's just there's a lot of bounce in this pitch, and Mitchell Stark is 6'6",
well,
and it's a true pitch.
Indeed, and you can leave on length, as you say. Linux Leah talking about the pig's heads. Is it Cameron's discarded lovers? Evil Scooters replying to Sally R's day that she's got ahead of her, saying, ooh, exciting. And Messi Jez says, Flintoff as coach, you say? The new kit will be interesting. And he's tweeted a picture of Flintoff in a terrible knitted jumper.
Oh, I was going to say Team Pedalo. This is played into the onside, just behind square, and Bairstow will encourage Stokes to come for the one. They do, 213 for 5.
He used to advertise that sort of plus-size men's retailer, Giacomo.
That's
Giacomo,
right, Giacomo, yeah.
He did. God, I want to say Johnny Vegas has also
Yeah,
advertised
that's right.
that at some point.
I think doesn't the Beast, Akinfenwa, former Wimbledon centre forward, I think he's Giacomo man.
He's still
He's
scoring.
right for
Is he
that.
still scoring goals for Wickham?
He certainly is. He played against us, what was it, last week? And yes, he's a very difficult man to get off the ball. It's just such a unit, and he's actually very good defensively. He comes back for every corner and,
I
and
can imagine.
wins pretty much everything.
Is he one of the? He all sort of guard that area in front of the near post.
It's a long way round him.
It is a lot. That is the thing. I always thought that when he played against us, he's very difficult to get the ball off. Oh, now that's quite a good ball from Mitchell Stark, who's definitely trying to keep the ball fullish to give it the finest opportunity to swing, but well played by Stokes. And that is the end of the first or certainly the first 5 balls with the new orb. 213 for 5.
Ravi Nair has tweeted in a YouTube clip of a band in response to Mog, and the band is Acadian Driftwood, because Mog had tweeted in something about Acadian grammar, not spelt the same. This is the language that Mog may be testing me with later on. Bring it on, Moggers. James Humberson says, good evening from me and the kids, Zoe and Finn. rugged up on a chilly Sydney evening. Well, hello James and the missus, and hello Zoe and Finn.
Lovely stuff. And sharing the new ball with Mitchell Stark from the James Anderson end is the destroyer-in-chief from yesterday, 4 for 48. Absolutely brilliant.
This is a jingle for Josh Hazelwood. This is a jingle for Josh Hazelwood.
So CricViz do this bit of analysis about wicket probability. So they match kind of that a ball with kind of the all of the balls that they've got in their database and kind of estimate the percentage of times that balls of that similar type have taken a wicket. So yesterday, the ball that Josh Hazelwood got Joe Root with had the highest wicket probability, and the one he got Jason Roy with had the second most.
Hard to face that sort of bowling, isn't it? Hazelwood in then to bowl to Bairstow, and Bairstow's hit on the pads, and he's in front. He's in trouble here, I would say.
Too high.
Big appeal, but
too high leg side.
Absolutely motionless is umpire Erasmus. I do like. You can't read anything from his face, can you? He just stands there and. Well, he's like the Rock of Gibraltar.
The old Easter Island statue, isn't he?
Sorry, rather flabby Easter Island statue.
I do. Also, he's a very good technical umpire, but he's also very good temperamentally, and he's very good at calming players down. Just a little wry grin every now and again. Yeah, I think that was from Hazelwood. It
You've
did come in
grin?
appreciably.
I've not seen him grin.
Yeah, a little bit yesterday.
I gave that out when it happened in real time, but you called it right, Knuckle. It was a little high and slightly leg-sidey.
They've only got one review
nuts.
remaining, so they're going to be a little bit cautious on that front, I would think. In he comes again, bowls, and it comes right back at him and hits him in the area that Joe Root took one yesterday.
Almost.
If quite low there. Let's have a look at this. This is the previous delivery. It's probably going down the leg side as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah, it would have probably clipped the leg stump if it had been a bit lower.
Very good decision. I got it wrong. Mea culpa. But I think he's got to be brave here, Bairstow. He's got to be transferring his weight forward, because Hazelwood is going to look to hit that fullish length.
Bring it back.
Yeah. And so he needs to get his front pad outside the off stump to negate the LBW threat.
Yep, absolutely right. He's in again, bowls, he drives. Oh, now that was a little bit aerial, but it's beaten Hazelwood, and it's beaten the diving man at mid-off, who I think was Nathan Lyon, and it's gone all the way to the boundary for one of these.
1 2 4 4 2 1. My name is Lakan. My name is Lakan.
It was a short arse, he was trying to get to that, but it was a Matthew Wade short arse as opposed to a Nathan Lyon short arse. When he went flying along the ground, didn't he? But,
I think Nathan Lyon's actually quite tall.
No, he's only about 5'11".
That's tall.
That's tall for me. It's tall for me. But it's not tall.
It's taller than any of us sitting here.
True.
But I think Bairstow actually got a little bit of swing on that, a little bit of fade on that.
He timed it really well, didn't he? It raced away. Wasn't that far from Hazelwood's left hand or the diving mid-off's right hand, and it scooted away to the boundary.
It kept them both interested, didn't it? He moves to 13 alongside Stokes. Hazelwood in again. Bowls. Oh, and that comes back again, but he might say he's leaving on length. So he's got to be careful if he gets it a little bit fuller, not to misjudge one of those. England 217 for 5. We should have a change at the end of this over. I don't know who else has arrived. I know Jason's out there. Is there anyone else?
I heard the bell go a little while ago. The bells. Ravi Nair has tweeted in a picture of his cat dressed up as a stegosaur, which I've retweeted. It looks amazing, that.
The Nestlers.
Walking straight in front of the screen. Who's going on to ball by ball?
I think it was supposed to be the Bear, but it'll be Paul. It'll be Knuckle, and then it'll be me and Grubby leaving.
Okie dokie.
For the time being. Hazelwood in, a little bit shorter this time, which is more comfortable for Bairstow as he jabs this into the onside.
Yeah, Hazelwood's spell in the second part of the second session yesterday, the final session. 6 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 17.
Yeah, it was tremendous. We've got the Johnny Bairstows in. We've got, 7, 8, 9 Johnny Bairstows. Is there a 10th? Yes, there's a 10th Johnny Bairstow. An 11th Johnny. A whole 11 of Johnny Bairstows in the crowd today. Which one of those is your... Oh, no, there's 12. Which one's your favourite?
Which one's my favourite of those
Johnny
bewigged
Bairstow.
people?
Yes.
I like the bloke in the front with the orange sunglasses and the white grizzled beard.
And the gap between the
Does he have curly hair if he grows it out, Johnny?
Oh, I don't know. Hazelwood in, bowls to him. He defends on the front foot to short extra cover. And that is the end of the over. Time for a change. Knuckle move to ball by ball. Jason G will come into the tweets. And Nestle Boy, have you recovered? He's not recovered. He's very ill. But he's going to do it for you anyway in the jingle chair.
Yep. You owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
And we're back.
You're listening to Gorilla Cricket's coverage of the 2019 Men's Ashes. You join us halfway into day 4 of the 4th test. 1-1. England 217 for 5, trailing by 280 after Australia made 497 for 8 declared with the Stephen Smith double ton. Mitchell Starc bowling the 3rd over with the second new ball. And it's a ball to the left-handed Ben Stokes, blocked comfortably off the back foot into the leg side. There is no run. Stokes on 13, Bairstow on 13. As saying, then 217 for 5. I'm Knuckle M. Pandey, taking you through the next half an hour on ball by ball. And as my colleague Nigel Henderson said, it's Sean Tracy, Nestle boy, coughing away on the jingle machine.
Good morning, good afternoon.
And Jason G. Hiscox reading your tweets and YouTube comments and
Hello.
Facebook comments. 3 slips away to a sort of shortish mid-wicket as well as Starc is in. Little hint of swing, but Stokes plays it comfortably enough from the crease to that shortish mid-wicket. And there is no run. Mitchell Starc has swung more balls in this 7 over spell with the second new ball, because he bowled one with the old ball, than he did for the entirety of yesterday.
Do we think England can do this? What do we think?
I mean,
What do you think the ultimate, a draw?
I think England can draw. I think the draw is favourite, I think, from here,
Yeah.
to me. We had a little poll that we put out before the start of play whether England can avoid the follow-on, and it finished 67% yes, 33% no. Stokes faces up to Mitchell Starc. It's a short ball. Stokes read that incredibly early. Actually, slightly too early, I think, because he ended up having to wait for it. Flailed it away square of the wicket. Not totally in control, but he got 2 out to Travis Head on the deep square leg of boundary. It's an odd-looking shot.
Yeah, it was. It was like a Steve Smith when he leaves it.
Again, I think he's almost read that too early. For me, Clive, he's almost hit that too well, and so forth.
It's a topspin forehand pull.
Yeah, it's went way in front of square. So, no real danger at all. But I wonder if Starc will bang the next one in a little bit shorter and a little bit quicker as well. He's dangerous when he's bowling that sort of 2 lengths full and short. No, he goes much fuller and cuts Stokes in half. A beautiful delivery. That one held its line rather than swing away from the left-hander. Took the inside shoulder of the bat and races away past a bewildered Tim Payne to the fine leg boundary. Absolute ripper from Starc.
4.
Oh, that was quick. That was deadly. Probably going over the top of off stump, to be truthful. Yeah, going some way over the top of off stump, but what a ball.
Yep, I should get some tweets. Ravi Nair says, since we're talking about our activities, I'm caring for my mini stegosaur who likes my books, and sends a picture of Fazana in her stegosaur coat.
We've retweeted that. It is adorable. Mitchell Starc was all over the place yesterday, but has been a lot better with the second new ball today. That's a full delivery which Stokes drives. That one did swing a little bit and went sort of curved away to leg and then swung away to middle and leg. A drive semi on the up. No real chance for Mitchell Starc to get down there from his 6'7". Fielded by mid-on coming round. They come through for a single. So Stokes not quite in control as much as he'd like to be. Starc did actually get a hand on it. Technically it's a drop. Would have been a very good catch, but technically Stokes has been dropped on 19.
Lennox Lear says, I'm still a bit filthy. The Rock didn't learn Acadian for the Scorpion King. And Dr. Lenny Hicks has joined us. Says, morning, Gorilla Cricket. Your between ball chat is as confusing as ever, but I've been listening in as I potter about today.
You're welcome. Saturday.
We tried to confuse.
Saturday, a good day for pottering.
Confusing and amusing at the same time, I hope.
Last ball of the innings is over. Is a very full delivery. It swings sharply into Johnny Bairstow, but he plays it very well. Nudges it up to mid on. There is no run. Bairstow on 13, Stokes on 20, but it's had a life. England 224 for 5. Seeing this caught and bowled chance again. Yeah, low to his right. Difficult chance for Mitchell Starc. He'll probably be annoyed he didn't cling on to it. We've seen him taking some good caught and bowled, but tricky chance.
Probably the toughest of chances that caught and bowled, would you say, a lot of the time?
Certainly when they come that low.
And when you're piling in like that as well. I mean, his arms were at full stretch, weren't they? But he didn't, he couldn't do much.
You've got to be a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
Well, the ball's got to be on the right side of you. I mean, the correct side. Sorry, not the right side.
Yeah, because he was having to adjust his momentum because his momentum going from round the wicket was taking him to his left, and then he had to adjust low to his right. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. Stokes wasn't fully in control. He'll be facing up to Hazelwood.
Probably easier for a spin bowler because they're not charging in quite as much.
And you sort of set yourself as a spin bowler. You know that a caught and bowled is a method of dismissal.
Yeah.
3 slips backward point. Wide-ish extra cover, almost, well, sort of wide-ish mid-off, really, as Hazelwood's in solidly defended by Stokes. Into the leg side, there is no run. Yeah, so that fielder is a sort of straightish extra cover, come wide-ish mid-off. We've got an orthodox mid on a short mid-wicket. 4, 5, 6, 7, and probably 2 men back on the hook.
Oh, actually, it says, of course England can save the follow-on. Everyone knows that England tail-enders actually bat at the top of the order.
Yeah, Don Bradman did reverse the order in, I think, 1937, when... because of a
wet
sticky
wicket.
dog that was going to dry out later. Hazelwood's been brilliant since he came back into this team. 3 for 58, none for 43, 3 for and 4 for at Headingley, and 4 for in this innings. Left on length by Ben Stokes. A little hint of swing in to the left-hander, whereas Hazelwood tends to take the ball across the left-hander and into the right-hander, so serious skill on offer. In fact, that came off the seam rather than in moving in the air, but passed well over the top of the stumps and through to Tim Payne. There is no run.
Some quick tracker shouts. Manish Drugar says draw match. Norm Chong says hello from Camden, New South Wales.
Norm Chomsky.
Rizwan Khan Hassi says best of luck Australia. Love emoji, love emoji. And Arshad Ali says hello friends, how are you?
We're very well, how are you? As Hazelwood comes in right arm over the wicket from the James Anderson end, is back of a length and seams in viciously, cuts Stokes in half. He's been cut in half twice, he's been quartered past the inside edge and through to Tim Payne. There is no run. Beautiful stuff from Hazelwood. See how much that's come in. Because that ball was going to miss probably a 5th stump and it's gone over the top of middle. Beautiful from Hazelwood. The seam position absolutely immaculate. He's held it for that late in movement and it's done exactly that. Superb skill. Stokes is very lucky.
And he's got to be worrying now about the one which holds its line or even goes the other way slightly as he adjusts to try and cover that movement into
I know it's gone well over the stumps, but when it's that straight, it's really difficult to leave on length. Surgical precision from Josh Hazelwood is in again. That's outside off stump, and Stokes, a little bit, as you say, kind of worried and tentative. A ball that he might have looked to play squarer. He sort of tries to punch down the ground off the back foot, but it dribbles up to mid-off. There is no run. Nathan Lyon wanders in from backward point to have a word.
Roger Melly's joined us. He says, morning lads, I've been watching game rugby between Australia and Samoa in the hope that I would see the bar stewards get beaten, but it's turning out to be a one-sided affair in the usual manner.
Who is it? Australia, Samoa?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of World Cup prep being done.
Yeah, Max C says, Hazel looks very stiff. If the pitch doesn't break down markedly, I'm not sure the Aussie players could survive 2 full days in the field.
Hazelwood in a full delivery, which does swing in to the left-handed Ben Stokes, and it's clipped nicely off the toes, but straight to short mid-wicket. Marcus Harris fields. There is no run. I don't think Hazelwood looks at all stiff. If this is him stiff, I'd love to see him at full pace.
Yeah, I don't want to see him supple.
Our own Tony Bishop tweets in and says, that chance was much harder than the Archer caught and bowled, but let's hope it's as costly.
Well, yes, indeed. Jofra Archer, not a particularly easy catch. It came back at him very, very quickly from Steve Smith. But yes, he was dropped on 60. And then was, of course, dismissed off a no ball on 118. As Hazelwood is in. Short ball, which Stokes reads very early and ducks under, making sure the bat is well out of the path. Through to the keeper, there is no run. A superb over from Josh Hazelwood. Very unlucky not to get Ben Stokes out. England 224 for 5, trail by 273. Still need 74 more to avoid the follow-on.
Linux Lear says, Ishant Sharma actually took 2 caught and bowls in 1 innings recently.
He did. He did indeed. Easier than those ones, but yes.
And Chris Paul says, on the subject of Stegosauruses, or Stegosaurus, a little fact. Stegosaurs were already fossils by the time T-Rexes roamed the earth. I think I saw this somewhere else.
Yes, indeed. There's considerably more time elapsed between the Stegosaurus and the T-Rex than there is between the T-Rex and us.
Which is the point he makes in the second part of the tweet.
Very good.
Have we, I suppose we have mentioned Quadir.
We don't
Abdul Quadir.
Oh yes,
He passed
yesterday.
away, unfortunately.
Abdul Qadir, the great Pakistani leg spinner, died yesterday of a cardiac arrest at 63. Hugely entertaining player and a fantastic bowler. As Stark is in a full delivery which swings into Johnny Bairstow. He tries to drive, gets the thick inside part of the bat, goes to mid-on, there is no run, and still passionate for cricket right till the end. And there's a great article that was doing the rounds yesterday from Christian Ryan talking about Abdul Qadir bowling in Melbourne grade cricket in 1998, I think, 99, I think, and still basically being good enough to get in the Pakistan team.
Wow.
And he would still, he would take time out of to teach leg spin and bowl googlies at whoever would ask.
Well, he certainly taught his kids, because I played against Raymond Qadir, his middle son.
Rahman Qadir. Usman Qadir is playing, I think, good level grade cricket in Australia still.
Salman Qadir was also at the club at the same time.
Stark in, short and wide, and hammered by Johnny Bairstow in front of square. Poor delivery, and Johnny Bairstow puts it away in front of the temporary stand for 4 runs. Yeah, that's pretty much what Stark was doing for a lot of yesterday. Johnny Bairstow read the length very early, and see how far that's gone in front of square. He's square cut a pretty fast and very good bowler through extra cover.
But isn't that also an indication that the pitch is nowhere near as quick as some of the other pitches?
Sure, it's a lot truer than some of the other pitches we've seen through the series. I think even more so than Headingley, which had some pace and some significant movement. Stark in had to be a lot better than he was off that delivery, and he is a good delivery, threatening to come back into off stump, but Bairstow left on length. He and Stokes have done that, well, more Bairstow than Stokes actually have done that well through its innings. Passes sort of well over where a fourth stump would have been through to Tim Payne. There is no run.
Chris Aquara has just joined us. He said, so fascinated by Bangladesh versus Afghanistan that I failed to notice it had gone past 11 a.m. Wisden shows Bangladesh have a 10% chance, although even though Afghanistan are 374 ahead.
Is that test being televised anywhere? Because I've been following the test with interest. Obviously, Bangladesh. Oh, they're currently bad light has.
Yes, play is currently
stumps.
halted by floodlight failure.
They've called stumps as the floodlights fail in Chattogram. Stark in fourth ball of the over from the Brian Statham end. A full delivery outside off stump, trying to tempt Bairstow to drive. Bairstow is not tempted to drive. Leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run. Touching 90 miles an hour, Mitchell Stark. Yeah, so Afghanistan closed day 3, 237 for 8, leading by 374. The tale of the day was that Afghanistan wrapped up the Bangladesh innings very early today, dismissing Bangladesh for 205, so a significant lead. And despite the fact they lost both Ihsanullah and then first innings centurion Rahmat Shah in consecutive balls in the first over, debutant opener Ibrahim Zadran made 87, Asghar Afghan made 50, and there were some runs as well from the lower and middle order. He's bowled him! Stark's got that booming in-swinger going. Johnny Bairstow caught between defence and driving. Kinda did neither, and the ball screams through the gate to take middle and off stump. Johnny Bairstow gone for 17. England 228 for 6.
On your bike, mate.
17 off 37 for Johnny Bairstow. England still trail by 269, still need 70 to avoid the follow-on. It was fast, it went a long way, it went late. Good ball, not the best shot from Johnny Bairstow.
No. And England are in deep doo-doo, I think.
And yet again, another Johnny Bairstow bowled.
Yes, indeed.
There must be a technical flaw by now that people have identified, but he just needs to work at it.
Yeah, it was just on that. It's just on that perfect length that dragged Johnny Bairstow forward and get him driving or sort of driving, and it was nowhere near the line of the ball in the end. It did go in late, and I think the shot that Bairstow played, I think, is could mean that we don't give quite as much credit to Stark for that delivery as we should. But yes, simultaneously a good ball and a poor shot.
I'll just get in some quick shout-outs on the YouTube. Side Alarm says Australia will win. Rohan Pradka says, hope Stark bowls better than yesterday. But
well, he already is.
Lord Henry Mortimer says, hope we somehow escape out of this test match. Shiful Mohim says hi. And Nahid Hussain says hello. And Kamal Pasha says, Australia's win the Ashes cricket series.
Well, we have a new batsman, and
A proper batsman too.
it's this man.
Prior ain't no loss, 'cause we found someone Sutler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he is Joss Butler. One S and 2 T's. Joss Butler.
You can see from stump cam how late that came in, and Johnny Bairstow was sort of committed to the drive, not really. A little bit like Jason Roy, actually, sort of caught between attack and defence. Good delivery, poor shot. Stark into Butler, that's way wide of off stump, and Butler contemptuously leaves alone through to Tim Payne, who takes it almost in front of second slip. Successful over 4, Mitchell Stark, if a little bit wayward either side of that superb delivery. England 228 for 6. They need another 70 still to avoid the follow-on.
If you were to be very slightly uncharitable, you'd say that Johnny Bairstow aimed a shot straight back down the pitch rather than on the line of the ball as it was delivered.
But he played the original line of the ball. It's gone in very,
moved.
very late. That ball started sort of as though it was going to go through 5th stump and then come in sharply to take, well, maybe 4th stump, and then came in to take Mirthlin off. You know, as I say, I think good ball, poor shot. Both of those things are true at the same time.
It's often the case.
Yeah, and you know that's what the art of good bowling is, isn't it? To force mistakes. Any more on the social medias? In fact, hold that thought, because Hazelwood's about to come in to start his 23rd over, the 6th with the new ball, bowling to Ben Stokes. Hazelwood's bowling right arm over the wicket from the James Anderson end at Old Trafford. Stokes blocks solidly into the leg side. There is no run.
Yep, Ravi Nair's tweeted in. He says, if we're doing this on the subject of nearer to a current time than previous time, he says, James Bond author Ian Fleming was born closer to the life of Jane Austen than he was to today.
Oh no.
Messenger says, in reply says, this is a bit Kevin Bacon. I was born closer to Ian Fleming than to Joe Root.
I had a text the other day from my friend, his son, who I haven't seen for ages but still think things like this, has had his first child.
Hazelwood in a little bit of swing into Ben Stokes, but started too straight, and he can just nudge this off his pads out to Travis Head, who comes in off the deep square leg boundary to field. Stokes moves to 21 with that single, bringing Joss Butler on to strike.
Is it me, or has this new ball done more than any other ball in this match so far?
Oh, considerably, both in the air and well, not so much off the pitch, but certainly in the air. Poor series so far for Joss Butler. 5-1 at Edgbaston, 12-31 at Lords, 5-1 at Headingley. But before this series, he'd been one of England's best performing batsmen since he came back into the Test scene. Was superb in Sri Lanka, but probably needs a score. In fact, definitely needs a score to keep the Wolves from the door, selection-wise.
England need him to do something today as well.
Certainly do. Still need 69 more to avoid the follow-on, or avoid the possibility of Australia enforcing the follow-on, trailing by 268. Just need to take time, as much time out of the game as they possibly can.
What's the weather forecast for today, by the way?
Just
this basically.
Yeah.
So
grey and miserable, but not necessarily raining.
Yes, indeed. Hazelwood comes in to the right-handed Joss Butler, tight to the stumps, and that's a beauty from Hazelwood. Threatens to come in and then just holds its line to beat the outside edge. Butler not pushing at it handily, not following it when it moved away, but definitively beaten through to the keeper it goes. There is no run.
Lennox Lear says in hashtag days of dread, says 20 years in the queues for that shot, creep.
That looked like it kept a bit low as well, didn't it?
It died a little. It died a little bit through to Payne, maybe.
Just a little bit of a scrambled seam and it just landed on moving slightly away. Or
and it was a bit fuller. It sort of kissed the surface rather than digging into the surface, as some have. We've got 3 slips on the gully, a backward point, short extra cover, mid off, very straight, mid on, also quite straight, short mid wicket, and someone back on the hook as Hazelwood is in and strikes Joss Butler somewhere. Well, just above somewhere slightly uncomfortable. Well, no, he's hit him slightly somewhere slightly uncomfortable. He's hit him somewhere above, somewhere very uncomfortable, as it seamed him sharply and bounced to strike him perhaps in the solar plexus. Tim Payne even winces and looks at his slip cordon to say, oof.
And possibly the last one in these series of closer than others. Lennox says there's a Cleopatra was born closer to the moon landing than to the construction of the Great Pyramids.
Yes, indeed.
Wow. That is reductio ad absurdum, I think.
It's also true. As Hazelwood comes in 5th ball of the over, football. It's a couple of very good deliveries to Josh Butler, who is solidly-ish forward, playing this with soft hands, and it squirts to Nathan Lyon at backward point, all along the ground. Hands on heads from Steve Smith at slip. I'm not really quite sure why. Butler seemed perfectly in control of that. There is no run.
He's fidgeting.
Smith, having a little close-up of Mitchell Stark's wrist position, I think, for the in-swinger and the one that went across Johnny Bairstow. You see the little change in the seam to point it sort of towards a leg slip, as opposed to the one that is pointed more towards orthodox slip to go across.
Just a little bit higher as well.
That's solidly defended by Butler. He's leaning into a defensive push. It goes on the bounce to short extra. There is no run. Another probing over by Josh Hazelwood, but Butler looking more confident through that course of that over. England 229 for 6, trailing by 68.
Any tweets there, Jason?
I'm just looking, and Evil Scooter goes, I think looking at the photo that we retweeted of the Farzana in a Stegosaurus.
It's extremely cute.
This is one of Ravi's...
It's his cat.
This is one of his
cat. Oh, right.
Yes, that was spayed recently, so it's a bit feral anyway, but it's not exactly in the best of moods now.
Well, you wouldn't be, would you? If you'd been neutered against your will
and made to dress as a Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Mitchell Stark in, continuing to Ben Stokes is a little bit shorter of a length and blocked by Stokes into the leg side. There is no run. Stark's been pretty easy to play when he's been length or back of a length, but as soon as he's pitched up, he's become orders of magnitude more dangerous. Similarly to him in the World Cup.
The weight of the English cricketing public again rests on Ben Stokes' shoulders.
His broad, tattooed shoulder. Actually, I don't think his shoulders are tattooed, but most of the rest of his arms are.
Go on, Stokesy.
Stokes awaiting the incoming missile from Mitchell Stark, who's in with his long striding rhythmical run up to the crease and bowls, and this one jags away sharply the other way from Ben Stokes, and he flashes at it sort of through to Tim Payne. There is no run. The fact that Stark's got the ball moving a little bit both ways means that Stokes wasn't quite sure whether to play or leave that. In the end, sort of did neither, really.
Yeah, they were keen for that, the Aussies.
They were. He missed it by quite a distance
in the end. Yeah. Ooh.
In fact, he sort of played at it, but after he both played at it and left it, but after it had passed him.
He saw it moving and thought, I'm not going to chase that with my hands.
And then did. Stark in a full delivery, angling in towards middle and leg stump. A little hint to swing again, but Stokes plays that very nicely to the past the non-striker. Pat Cummins does well, sliding to his right to field at mid-on. There is no run.
Yeah, I don't like those tattoos that have loads and loads of scripture on it and writing, and they look a bit horrible, don't they?
I don't know. I think Stokes's have got sort of prouder and bolder, which I quite like. I like when the lines are crisp and the design is very bold. I don't. Yeah.
A friend of mine had the Last Supper tattooed on her back.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Quite a thing.
Stark is in another full delivery, which is again driven nicely by Ben Stokes. This time Cummins can't prevent the single, as he had a little bit more work to do diving to his right. Stokes has played those two full sort of outswingers to the left-hander very well. This time he gets a single, moves to 22, bringing Butler back onto strike.
Yeah, it was done by quite a famous tattooist in England, and it took months. And it is quite incredible.
Sure. Is she religious?
Not particularly.
So why? Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never been attached enough to anything permanently to want it on my body. But you know, I admire some of the artistry of tattoo artists. Some of the designs some of the things they can do are absolutely incredible.
She's got everything apart from her face, which is good.
Just having a quick look at Steve Harmison,
yeah,
who with a mobile phone looks absolutely tiny in his paws.
He's a big man. He's slimmed down a little bit, but he's still massive shoulders and arms. Steve Harmison.
He's 6'7".
Yeah, about that. Similar height to Stark, actually. Yes. Short ball from Stark, which Butler just inclines his head to make sure that nothing was bothered by that. It flies way over his shoulder, and there is no run.
Harmison still involved in cricket at all? Is he?
Punditry every now and again. I don't think he's in coaching or anything.
No.
Well, he was coach of Ashington, but in a different sport.
That was in football, yes.
Really? Yes. Well, he's an Ashington boy. And replacements appear around the corner.
Yeah, I think Paul Grubby Houth will be coming into the ball.
The replacements are here,
And,
not the band.
Jason is moving across to the jingle chair, and the Nigel the Bear Walker for the first time today will be joining you. He'll be on the tweets. Last ball of Starks over the last ball of my spell is back of a length, and Butler this time does not contrive to run himself out. He drops it into the offside. He wanted the single. Stokes, with a presumably a loud bellow, said no, and Butler sent back. Butler naught off 7, looking more comfortable than he did over his first couple of balls. Stokes on 22, England 230 for 6.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla Commentary, we need money. That's what I want. We need money. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Gorilla Commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want.
Hello, everyone. It's Grubby here in the central missionary position. The Bear has eased himself into the tweet
After
seat.
a little rant.
Yeah, you've had a couple of rants. We've had a few rants. We've left we've left Hendo in the next room to have the mother of all rants as the Wimbledon game kicks off. And Jason G. Hiscox has moved over to the jingle chair. Hello, sir.
Hello.
So the usual Johnny Bairstow dismissal, driving round one. Admittedly a good ball in swinger from Mitchell Stark, what he does very effectively, particularly in one-day cricket, and he brought it to the Test match arena today. And Johnny just not up to the task, really. Drives all round it, big old gate, as big as the gate in my backyard. And it's not really the batting technique of a Test match batsman.
Wow. Can I just get it? Obviously, you were talking about tattoos. That is Ben Stokes' tattoo on his back. That is amazing.
You
He's
are
got
joking
Pride of
me.
Lions on his back.
We should retweet that.
Apparently,
Bloody
he
hell.
is totally tattooed
Is
on
that
his
for
back,
real?
shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, it took 28 hours of pain.
Yeah, it's nothing for him.
It's going to look really shit when he's out fat and old.
He don't care about that, does he?
28 hours of pain. He's had 6 months of pain.
I think whenever getting a tattoo done, you should think about what's going to happen when you're fat and old. 'Cause
Nah.
they're never going to look good.
Live fast, die young.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing, though. Literally not a square inch of skin on his back is visible.
I mean, artistically, it's very good.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, taking a scalpel to his back and putting that on my wall. I won't do that, though. Not right now. He's batting for England. He has 22 not out. England have moved on to 230 for 6. Joss Butler's been there for 7 balls and is yet to get off the mark. There's a bit of is it a drinks break or something?
Yeah,
break
well,
going
it's
on?
an hour into the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let me go through some tweets. Ravi Nair talking about his cat. He's getting there. I presume he's ill. Getting crabby at times. Very clingy. Another week, and she should be all good to her usual irritating way.
I think if I read the social media post correctly this week, Ravi's cat's had the old.
Well, that's not surprising. If you had your knackers cut off, I don't think you'd be very.
Call a spade a spade.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there we are.
Does anyone know what Stokes has written on his arms? Something religious? Oh, I don't know.
Don't know.
If someone can get that in, they can. No.
Just looking at the bowling figures there for Australia, Stark has 1 for 54. That one coming in the last few minutes. Johnny Bairstow. Destroyer in chief at the moment is Josh Hazelwood. He has 4 for 53. Pat Cummins, who's bowled better than his figures might suggest, I think, 1 for 46. He bowled a brilliant spell yesterday, which I didn't see much of live, but he had both Root and Burns in trouble before they got out. Bowled a really good spell, and Hazelwood, I suppose, was the beneficiary at the other end.
The highlights look good enough. I mean, it must have been even better in the flesh.
The ball got Root jagged back quite a long way, kept a little bit low, completely had him stuffed. Didn't see Burns getting out. It was a poor shot. It was a poor shot by Roy again, to be fair.
Yeah.
Who else was out?
Well, that was it, wasn't it? That was the three England lost in sort of 40 minutes.
And Overton.
Overton
pretty much
Overton
regulation.
Early doors, yeah. Well, he can handle a bat though, Craig Overton. Even in his short innings, he looked pretty
organised,
comfortable.
And he just played. To be fair, the ball that came out didn't do a lot. He just played down the wrong line.
Yeah.
He'd only faced 2 or 3 balls in the morning. Back end of the innings batsman. That's Farouk Engineer.
Farouk Engineer, isn't it? Who's what's the phrase? Enjoying life these days.
Well, he wouldn't come across to the commentary box on the World Cup final because we wouldn't get him a golf cart to go from one side of the ground to the other. He didn't want to walk.
Well, he's got an umbrella with him today, which might double as a walking stick, I suppose. He looks fairly natty there. He's got a nice pink shirt on and a bright blue jacket over
And
that.
a companion to make sure he doesn't
And
fall
a
over.
companion / carer. This one is left alone outside the off stump as we resume. It was Stokes leaving that one alone outside the off stump.
Yeah, well,
Hazelwood.
Chris G says, had I had the equivalent, I presume he's talking about being spayed, I would be more than just crabby, and this is true.
Yeah, exactly. I remember our cat, Douglas, who's recently been looked after by Hendo when we were away last week. When we had him done when he was a little one, he only had one ball, and I started whistling at him. and my wife said, "Stop doing that." And I said, "He doesn't know the tune. It's all right. We have an
Not call him Adolf.
we have an understanding." Well, they had to tease the other one down before they could, get rid, as it were. This one is driven by Stokes, just a checked drive up to mid-on where it's fielded, and there is no run. We're seeing just some of his tattoos poking out from beneath his short sleeves. He's got a short-sleeved sweater over the top as well, so it obviously is cold there in Manchester.
Didn't they say that the first day was the coldest they've ever experienced at
Really?
Manchester? Yeah,
Really?
in the biting wind.
Yeah, with the wind chill factor.
And a bloody windy it was, too.
Yeah, people were wrapped up like good uns there, weren't they? Got any more social media stuff going on there, Bear?
I've had a few plead with Zahid Shakil says clean up Bairstow, but I presume he means Bairstow.
Top edge from Stokes, attempted pull, didn't get in control of that one at all. A couple of bounces down to long leg and a rather fortunate 4. Wry smiles all around there from the Australian players. Just on him a little bit quick there, deep in his crease, and he pirouetted 180 degrees, and it flew off, didn't it? 1 or 2 bounces.
It's a bit of a surprise ball. He's bowled up all morning, pretty much, and that's the first short one he's really had.
He really is a fantastic bowler, Hazelwood, isn't it?
Arshad Ali on Crick Tracker says, "Hi, all friends. How are you?"
Oh, I think Arshad sent that earlier on.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, unless he's saying the same thing again, in which case, no problem. This is off the hip of Stokes, and again it runs away. It's going to be 4 leg byes this time, past the despairing dive of Tim Payne.
It's not quite, but
Score moves on to 238 for 6. Still a long way to go for England.
Well, the first thing is to avoid the follow-on, isn't it?
Well, I was saying to you next door, I think England have got 2 chances really to save this match. You've got this lower order, middle and lower order batting now, and batting on what still looks like a pretty decent batting wicket. Pretty even in bounce, good pace to it, so you can, if you get in, cash in, as it were. And then whenever England bat again, be that following on or later in the game. This is defended from the crease by Root back to the bowler. So it remains 238 for 6. Butler still to get off the mark. He's not faced more than his 7 balls yet, and Stokes has 26.
Well, who's left the bat? Archer, Stokes,
the bowlers. The bowlers minus Overton.
Archer, Broad,
Leach, Broad.
Yeah.
And I bet it will be Broad, Leach in that order, which is ludicrous.
Given their current.
Well, I don't know. I think
capacity.
Leach is good for hanging around, but he's
yeah. So get him in at 10. It's just totally
possibly
100% to do with Broad's ego. Hazelwood over the wicket to the left-hander Stokes, who is forward, covering up in defence, playing it up to mid-off. There is no run that completes the 88th over.
I'd qualify that slightly. I think it makes a difference if you've got an established batsman at the other end. If it's 2 tail enders in at that point.
Well, Broad,
Jack,
Broad's test average is around
really
about 20. I mean, I've seen. I mean, Broad is. He got pinged on the head, and we talked about this several times on the show. And he got pinged on the head a few years ago, and for a year after that, he was fucking shaky. And then he's been less shaky so far. I mean, he does take a while to get himself going, but actually, he scored a couple of handy 20, 30s, and 40s batting at 10.
Yeah, when?
As recent ago as a couple of tests.
At the moment, there is no doubt in my mind, and I'm not just saying this as I'm a Somerset fan. I'm just saying this what I see with my eyes is that Leach is a far better organised batsman with a technique versus Broad, who is a genuine rabbit these days, I believe, and the only reason that they're batting, the order they're batting, is because of ego. This is driven on the up by Butler. This will get him off the mark. A despairing dive at extra cover from Matthew Wade, but that one zips to the boundary. Beautiful shot.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is
A little bit aerial actually, so not fully in control of it, but decided to go through with the shot, hit it on top of the bounce.
Nicely timed.
And he timed it beautifully, yes, and that was the secret there.
Wasn't he
so
out
he's
like
off the
that a
mark.
couple of test innings ago?
Driving to extra cover, it was very similar,
Where
absolutely right.
he is stationed right now.
Yeah, he's sort of between mid-off and extra cover is Matthew Wade, just on the edge of one of the adjacent wickets. Stark is in again. This one is shaping into the body of Butler, and he just turns it around the corner, and they come through for a single. 2 4 3 for 6.
Oh, that would have been bad if he'd not been looking at the ball, not looking at Ben Stokes, and they'd run into each other.
Yes, he was totally sold down the river by Stokes, who sort of redeemed himself later in that innings, I suppose, at Headingley.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ravin Air on Spade Cat says, yep, everyone tells me I've done the right thing. She will live longer, be more chilled, have no kittens, which there are too many already. But she looks to be in discomfort and pain, seeking solace, and I feel like I heal her as I stroke her.
Yeah, I mean, just toughen yourself up there, Ravster. You've done the right thing. Give the poor old dear a little stroke and spoil her for a couple of days, but then you'll both be happier. Stark over the wicket to the left-handed Stokes, who edges this to second slip, and he's gone! Ben Stokes has gone. No heroics for him here, as there were at Headingley. Going back in his crease, perhaps a ball he should have been forward to, took the outside edge of the bat. It did just shape away a bit from Stark, and he has gone, and England are 243 for 7 and in some degree of trouble. Yeah, he's just misjudged the length there for me. Should be coming forward to that one and covering up in defence. Decided to go back into his crease. The ball swung a bit late, which meant that he was playing down slightly the wrong line. Got the outside edge and caught by, I think, that man Smith again, wasn't it?
Well, we need some Butler heroics then, don't we? We've got to get past this follow and got to make them bat again.
Does Butler go into beast mode now?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, not a 7 down.
Fall another wicket?
I wouldn't say.
If it's Archer?
I don't know. I think he's got a... I mean, his natural game, if you like, will score runs anyway. I don't think he needs to... I don't think he needs to gamble particularly at the moment. He needs to let Archer settle in, hopefully, to some sort of innings.
The ball is still quite new and hard, therefore, whatever you get when you do get a bat on it, it's going to go.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me get through some tweets. Vera Raghavan says, Mitchell Stark always gets the benefit of the doubt in running onto the danger area in the pitch, probably being an English-speaking person. Ooh, feisty. Dave Wood says, I think the tattoo on Stokes' arm says twat it in Gaelic. Used for a T20, not so great whilst in a nightclub. James Moosh says, what do you say about Farouk Engineer if you're around Old Trafford? He's a bit of a legend in these parts. I do know that. I was with Clive Lloyd for a long time, if you remember, who was also a legend, and they were good friends. But he did want a golf cart to get from one end of the ground to the other.
Not saying anything disrespectful, was a fantastic player for Lancashire. Also, I love those names that are also professions. Railway worker. I don't know if there are any of those.
Nari Contractor.
Contractor is the other one. That's absolutely.
Bugger. Comrade Bernsky says, I never heard Jonathan Agnew and Asda Cook discussing cat's bollocks on TMS. No, you won't hear that.
You will not. And all the poorer for it, I'd say. Stick with us, kid. You'll be all right.
Anyway, the new man has come to the crease, and it is this bloke.
And now it's time for Jofra Archer.
That is something you might hear on Radio 4, I have to confess. Stark now with figures of 259 is into the new man Archer, who gets a ball in his legs and just turns it into the square leg area. That was a very close call.
He starts sauntering off.
Yeah, he was a good few yards short, and the ball was fielded there and wanged at the striker's end. And I think if that had hit, he might have been in some difficulty. They have actually completed the single, so he's off the mark straight away. Look at him, just jogging up the pitch. If that hits, he's gone by 3 yards.
That's lazy.
That is poor cricket from Jofra Archer. Really, awareness of the fielders and the match situation, all that is really bad. But he does survive. He has won. England moved to 244 for 7, rather streakily there.
Well,
wake up, lad.
Butler's danger number.
What, 5?
5, yep.
Oh, really? Stark is into him over the wicket. A full ball outside the off stump and driven through the covers. He's going to get at least a couple here. In fact, this is going to run all the way on a pretty fast outfield. Gets to the extra cover boundary now.
Eins, zwei, drei, vier.
And he's definitely been the one seam bowler in this attack, Mitchell Stark, who's just struggled a bit with his lengths in this innings. And you could see when he came on to bowl yesterday, obviously he's not been in the team, it's been his first appearance in this series, and his teammates really trying to galvanise him, get around him, get his confidence. And I thought that was interesting to note. He's over the wicket. This is too wide outside the off stump, and Butler's able to allow that to pass through. That's the end of the over, 248 for 7. So he's obviously, well, they think he requires a metaphorical arm around the shoulder, a bit of encouragement.
Miles short.
Yeah, we're just watching Jofra again eventually completing his single. He would have been out by 3 or 4 yards. He's not even got the bat out to run it in. That was very poor from Jofra. Let's hope for his sake that acts as a bit of a wake-up call.
Well, exactly. I hope Butler's going, listen, you muppet. When you take a single, you run.
Yeah, test match here, Jofra. Test match we're in the middle of here.
Ravi Nair says, we're only talking about sterilising caps because if we talk about cricket, we'll lose another wicket, which we did do. I hope the Bears gone under and loses money. I haven't made any bets today. They all went south yesterday. Although I've got England to win.
It's absolutely pissing it down here in Sydenham, by the way.
Oh, God, so it is.
I've got to pop out and get some beer quite soon. So let's hope that lets up for my sake, which is, I'm sure, all that anyone is concerned with. Hazelwood's going to continue. Further north, where the weather, at the moment at least, is clement, or more clement than is here.
Well, Pravin Nair is watching something completely different because he says Austria win.
The Eurovision Song Contest.
Indeed. Will we avoid the follow-on, says Matahari. The crowd are on the edge of their seats.
Nip and indeed tuck. 50 more runs are required to do that for England. As Hazelwood bowls a good slower ball, it looked like to me, just outside the off stump of Archer. It foxed him.
83, it's not that slow.
Well, he's generally up around 89, 90, isn't he? So it's it looks slower out of the hand to me, let's say. But maybe it was just fuller and floatier, and it certainly was too good for Archer as he came non-committally forward. He's got to get his head in the game here, Archer. He looks a little bit discombobulated out there, as if he's in the middle of
he's not quite awake
a little dream.
It's only half past 12.
Yeah.
Dave on YouTube says Smith may be from another planet, but Jofra doesn't know what planet he's currently on.
It does look that way. He's a bit spacey at the moment. Archer has won. This ball he defends from the crease, a ball just on off stump, defends it out to short extra. There is no run.
I do want to see. I've heard a lot about Archer's batting. I've heard he's pretty good.
Well, the average is over 30 in
I know,
first class
that's what
cricket,
I mean.
which is good.
I saw a fair couple of slaps down long on's throat during the World Cup, which is understandable. It's ODI cricket at the end of an innings, although some of them were, poor shots in the circumstances.
Well, there was that one. What's the one I'm thinking of?
Sri Lanka.
Australia. Sri Lanka. It was. Yeah, when he was in with Stokes, and it wasn't his role to try and whack it over the boundary, which he was trying to do. I thought that was poor cricket as well. So anyway, here he is, gets a short ball, but it's too wide outside the off stump, and he just genuflects and allows it to go through.
And Roger Millie is being sharp-tongued, but probably a little bit true.
Go on
he
then,
says
Roger.
All Leach has to do is score a ton to make up for his fuck-up, and we're sweet.
Yeah, it was.
I think that's unforgivable.
It was a gargantuan bollock drop. Does that mean you're not going to forgive him? When you say it's unforgivable, what are you going to do? Not forgive him? What does that mean? He's going to be exiled somewhere, never spoken to again. How quickly sporting fortunes can change. Only a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, he was reenacting that important one that he scored. This is defended from the crease by Archer to short extra. There's no run.
Still a fair way to go in this test, and there's lots of things that can happen here.
But it's interesting to note that Matthew Wade is now donned the lid at his short leg, with his motor mouth chuntering away.
He's right chirpy there, isn't he, Jay?
Which is the reason why he's gone there, I presume, is to get in Jofra Archer's ear.
Jofra doesn't strike me as someone who's going to be overly affected by someone chirruping away.
Well, he's got 650s in 45 innings. It was over 10%.
Yeah, well, indeed, yeah. And he scored 100 in that seconds match where he played before this series. He ducks under this one, and it's down the arse a little bit, not troubling him overly. Through to the keeper. One ball left in the 90th over. England are 248 for 7, still requiring 50 to avoid the possibility of being asked to follow on.
Jay Grover says afternoon. All
right, Jay.
Bother, he says.
Nothing.
That's quite tame for you. I presume the beers and whatever else hasn't started sinking down yet, Jay. It's all right. I've started drinking. I had a pretty shit morning and came.
Sun is past the yard arm, is it not?
The tequila and prescription drugs have not yet been cracked open.
Absolutely, get on it. Ravinair says Mitchell Stark speaks Strine, not English. Strine.
Short and outside of the off stump and goes through to keeper no run.
You may as well claim that W spoke English.
W. Bush, you mean?
Yeah. Stark looks like what I imagine the pirate Bart Roberts looked like. But
Yes.
this time his head is still English joy.
Yeah, he's got that sort of sparing facial hair, a little bit on the top lip, a little bit under the bottom lip, which is a little bit piratical, I agree.
Ooh, look, Christ the Choir. The mother of the Queen was born exactly halfway between now and the French Revolution.
Well, and indeed well.
Right, back on YouTube. English will lose down under easily, says Vanahab. Champak Nath says Australia will win. Muscapat says wacko. I don't know who's replying to. Is that us? I'm a wacko.
Hello, we're whack. I had to take some idiot to task on YouTube earlier on today, calling us both gay and fat. I said we're proud to be gay and fat. Are you proud to be a dick?
Yeah. Ooh. Well said. Well said.
Some idiot called Jaden.
Hello, Jaden.
Oh, this is interesting.
Matahari says when I was a kid we played street cricket and he was the stumps.
What? Matahari was the stumps.
It sounds like he's saying that. Bounces come for Archer, says Champat Nath, and Crickman Gamer also says Australia will win. Australia are in a plum position, it has to be said. England must get out of this without losing. And you've got to say, look, Australia played it right. Australia won the toss. They decided to bat. They got into the position. England made the mistakes in the afternoon session of the second day when they Archers, it's a half chance, but you've got to hang on to those. He could have had Smith out for 60.
Well, I think that was harsh.
Well, I don't know. Siddle's caught two caught and bowled.
Yeah, but that was so, it was almost.
I know it's hard, but it was in and out of his hands.
Well, it wasn't. It clipped his finger. If anything.
No, it didn't. It went through his hands.
Is a false shot from Butler, attempting to steer it through the covers and just getting a little under edge back to the bowler.
And caught on 118 off a no ball. That's 100 runs less. That's 4. Even if you just take his runs off, that would change the situation.
The Jack Leach error, because Smith was on 118 at that point, ended up with 215.
So 11, I think it was.
Anyway, it's like 150. England could have had Australia out for 300, and then it would have been a pretty even game from that point. When you're looking at 450.
We can't blame ourselves.
No, absolutely. Australia have played very well and have had the upper hand for most of this Test match. This is through Butler. Almost a carbon copy there of the Johnny Bairstow dismissal. I'm not quite sure how that missed the stumps as he aimed a drive and was beaten through the gate. And you shouldn't be beaten through the gate like that when you're playing in a Test match, I'm afraid, Josh. Just tighten up.
Well,
tighten up, son. Tighten up. Get your front foot outside that off stump. Get your bat next to the pad and defend the ball. That is a loose shot from Butler. Yeah, and I know I love him dearly, but you've got to call it when you see him making mistakes like that, and that was poor.
Well, Crickman Gamer is with you. He says Josh Butler needs to step up his game right now, and that is true.
The annoying thing is he can play like that. He can play properly, and he's got to. Two slips in place, and this one just is to the right hand of that second slip, diving away, just angled down, not quite an edge as such, angled down towards third man. And Butler's going to come back for a couple moves into double figures. He has 11.
250,
and England have 250, or a marmoset as I call it, a small monkey.
A small monkey.
Half monkey.
Okay, half monkey, yeah. Kiwi Callie says, I'm cheating on you tonight. With AFL, that's Aussie rules, yes. But did Bear and Tony, I think, end up placing a bet on Stokes as man of the match?
I heard that discussion. It was 12-1 at the time, because when Smith was in. I think at this moment it'd be hard to see past Smith getting that accolade. But hey, who knows if we get in the second innings again. Stokes chases it down with some unlikely heroics, but it's
save the draw.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think in that case it would go to Smith, wouldn't it, for his double? So unlikely. Anyway, Kiwi Callie, we forgive you your infidelity because you're lovely. Butler has 11 and he's going to face up to Stark. 2 slips and a wide gully. This is across him and allowed to pass through to Tim Payne. So England remain 250 for 7.
Messi Jez, who is post-Headingley stress disorder now.
He is, yeah.
He says, I'm increasingly convinced that Australia wouldn't enforce the follow-on and risk batting last. Quicks will need a decent rest. They have bowled 90 overs, although they've only come out fresh this morning. It is a question to be asked, isn't it?
I think that's England's game plan potentially for the Oval Test, is to manage to make sure that Australia bowl as many overs in this Test by batting long, however many innings they get to bat.
Yeah, well, it's never a bad idea to put those miles in those bowlers' legs, as they say. This is again across Butler, and he allows it to pass through once more. 1 ball left in the 91st over. 250 for 7 is the score. I can see, even if England are just short of that follow-on target, that Payne doesn't enforce the follow-on. Say we're going to take 30 overs here. Davey Warner, you go out there, have a thrash. They might score a quick 100 and something, 120, 130, 140. Maybe they'd look to score at 5 and over 150, so that would set England 360, 70 or something, and then best part of 4 sessions of bowling them out. This one lands on the crease, and therefore P shoots through, beats everything. A little glove from Payne, but it's all the way through to the third man boundary for 4 byes.
But you got a byes jingle. Got leg byes.
Ball went through the keeper.
Bye bye baby, baby, 4 byes.
Ball went through the keeper.
It goes on forever, so you can drag it down.
Let it through, straight through the keeper.
Oh, stat attack.
Nope.
Oh, jeez. Right, okay. We've had 2 GPL entries so far. You have, what have we got? 12:24. So you've got about 35
half
minutes.
an hour, yeah. Come on.
You've got a good amount of time to enter the GPL. The pot will be about 126, 127 pounds.
It was 127 earlier, so it'll be 129 now with those 2 entries.
There you go. No, it won't be 128.
What?
We don't run it profit free, you know.
No, I know.
2 entries, that's £1.
Okay.
So there you go. There's a secret of the GPL. So yeah, £128 it will be, which, well, you know, as we discussed the other day, you can get you a couple cheap Ryanair flights to Paris and a few drinks.
Cheap flights. Have you seen that?
Yeah, a day trip to Paris on 128 quid probably.
Fascinating Aida, isn't they called? Those two women who sing that song about Ryanair cheap flights. It's very good. If you've never heard it, look that up.
We have a change of bowling.
We do.
And it's this guy who's getting an early introduction.
Yeah, he did have a couple of overs with the old ball first thing this morning.
Also, England, so if the tail can muster 60 runs, and Butler mustered 60 runs.
Starts with an excellent ball, Johnny on the spot, outside the off stump, turning into Jofra Archer on a length, and Archer just fiddles it into the onside, where it's fielded by the man at short leg, and there is no run.
And that may be optimistic, but if they could, and that got us up to say 370, they'd only have a lead of what, 120? They'd have to bat, you know, a long way, because that would take up to after tea.
Oh, this one turns appreciably from outside the off stump and bounces more than that previous delivery. So we were talking earlier on, it's just dropped down again off his body to be fielded at short leg.
This is an excellent move because it's going to force the 2 batsmen into awkward questions. Do they going to have a go at it and when it's turning and bouncing?
Is he going to get it up above his eye line and see what happens then? This is a bit flatter, turns into middle and leg stump, and he just jams down on it. Once more it's fielded at short leg. We were talking earlier about it turning appreciably this pitch, but thus far it's been quite consistent turn and consistent bounce. However, that second ball turned and bounced much more than the first one had.
This is more a plan to Archer than it is to Butler.
Maybe. And again, he's landing it in those footholes just outside Archer's off stump. And once more it turns. There's a semi-appeal for LBW, but it's
turning way
far
too far,
much,
isn't it? This is the problem. It's
wasn't it?
It's going to be very difficult to get an LBW from out there. I mean, that's turning square.
Yeah, I mean, it hit him very deep in his crease and on the back leg, and he was right in front of middle and leg.
No, he was in front of the leg. I mean, that's
it's turning down. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a million miles away. Once again, it's outside the off stump. He aims a cut at this one, does Archer? Probably a little bit unwise, and he doesn't get anything on it through to the keeper. So we're testing over this for Archer.
Wasn't it Archer who was got by Lyon in the last test when Stokes at the other end?
Sorry, Jay.
Oh, I can't remember. This is defended comfortably this time by Archer to complete that over, which is a maiden and a pretty good one from Lyon. So it remains 254 for 7.
Okay, Jay's had a little Twitter spat. Well, not a little. He's got them all out. He says, "What's wrong with being gay and fat? I have no pride in being a dick mind." He says, "Well, there's nothing wrong, Jay. That's our point." He also says he's just had his first prescription drugs of the day, and he blames peer pressure from us.
That's a massive arm behind your back there from a million miles away.
Exactly, and he says we're all looking a bit funereal today. Well, I'm in black, you're in black, and he's in dark. So he's going to put on a Hawaiian shirt on.
As the idiot Morrissey once said, "I wear black on the outside because black is how I feel on the inside."
And Joshua Letchford asked, "What do we think of Payne's wicket keeping this series? It's a hard area of the game to quantitatively measure."
I think it's been mixed.
I think he's better than Bairstow.
Yes, I think I'm better than Bairstow.
He's got softer hands.
I've got softer hands.
Yeah.
Especially after I've moisturised.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll change your bowling at the other end as well.
Yep.
Paceman Pat, and his baggy green cap. Early in the morning, just before the warm-up, he has to pull out with a dodgy back.
Hit Rick Carmen!
Two slips very close to each other for Joss Butler, who gets a ball on middle and leg, turns it into the onside. It's fielded by the man at sort of wide mid-wicket, who's Matthew Wade, the chirpy Matthew Wade, heavily bearded. He does the fielding and gets up a little gingerly and hobbles around a bit as if he might have just tweaked an ankle or something and bowled through for a single.
I think he banged his knee on
he's banged his knee.
On the ball?
That was another
Was it another
no-ball.
He's bowling a lot of no balls Cummins. We just skidded across one of those pitches that's in that area, and that can skin your knee, can't it?
That did.
Don't like that.
Knee banged into the hard turf. Yeah, pain.
Yeah, pain.
That's a solid.
Well, the one good thing is that Cummins does get a wicket. At least they'll have to look at the no ball.
But why can't they get it right in actual play as well?
Well, we were discussing this yesterday. I think they need a line cutting laser.
It takes 2 seconds. We've just seen it there on the replay. It takes 2 seconds. That was a no ball, and then they'd soon stop doing it, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they, Nestlers? They would. Yes, Nestlers agrees. Nestlers has come into the room. I'm going to move across to Jingles, I think.
We're all going to one to the right.
Yeah.
Take a step to the right.
And now Gully has come in for Jofra Archer, who gets a short and unthreatening ball down the arse. Payne takes that one quite comfortably. That's the one over the shoulder that he's allowed for this over, says Dharmasena.
Matahari says now Australia would enforce the follow-on. They might do. I don't think they will. Well, it depends how close we are to it, really. I think we're close enough to it now that they probably wouldn't. It's kind of out of vogue these days. Although if they really want to win,
30, maybe 40 overs they could give themselves and try and score the thick end of 200, which is highly doable.
Doable when you're that far ahead, definitely.
And if only they had Glenn Maxwell in the side, he'd be useful. God knows why he's not there. This is defended from the crease by Archer. Out into the offside, and there is no run. It's 256 for 7, so England still trailing by 241.
Crickman Gamer says Australia just building pressure on England. Looks like something shitty happened in the football out there. So I just heard.
Is it 2-0? Oh dear.
To the opposition.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh, I know. He refuses to accept it's a derby. But Bob Burrow says, I love the illiterate, badly spelt comments from some of our friends on here. Well, that's fine. Some of them, it's not their first language. That's cool. We forgive that totally. Matahari says, who cares? Spelling grammar is overrated in any ways. I would say that's true.
I would not agree. 2 slips and a gully in place, and this is defended. Timed it quite nicely out into the covers there. Did Archer, but straight to the man, and there is no run.
And Adolf Alexander Young reckons this test will end in a draw.
Adolf
Alexander Young.
You really called Adolf? Or is that
maybe that's his
an ironic sobriquet you've given yourself? No one calls their kid Adolf these days, surely. There are a few Adolfos in Argentina, aren't there? But that neck of the woods.
Dave S reckons you can't beat a toasted ham, cheese and tomato sandwich whilst watching the cricket.
Oh, cheese and tomato sandwich, lovely. Hotter than the sun, the tomato.
Like tomatoes.
Do you not?
Hate them.
The ball outside the off stump, and he flashes at this one, Archer, and it beats him. No feet there, just threw his hands at it, rather waftily and wristily, and that is an ill-advised shot, and Butler needs to have a little word to Archer, I think. They're thinking about, the clock's gone on as if they're going to review that for an edge through, but no one believes he's got anything on it. Archer has looked very spacey since he's come to the crease. There was the run-out possibility off his first ball where he was just jogging when the man at square leg had the ball in hand.
Late on
He's been having a little go at Jay's prescription drugs.
Well, I think he perhaps needs to take them.
He looks like he's on
tramadol.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't think he needs to. Yeah, what are you looking at? He's
he's missed it by inches, so let's just move on with our live, shall we? No need for Ultra Edge, sponsored by Specsavers at this point.
Yes, Jaden. Jay.
The straighter ball, defended from the crease. That's better from Archer. Plays it under his nose, back up the track, and there is no run.
No, Grubby wasn't saying you were fat and gay or whatever.
No, some idiot on YouTube called us fat and gay.
Yes, we're aware of that.
Yeah, I don't want to give him too much airtime, but he was an idiot. I'm not going to mention him by name again. Idiot with a capital I.
Yes.
One ball left in this, the 93rd over. Twat! It's nice. It's quite satisfying to say that in a high-pitched voice, I always think.
Twat!
Yes, there we go. See? Always raises a smile. Cummins, his 21st over, he's about to complete with figures of 1 for 48. Good length ball outside the off stump. This time, carbon copy, and he flashes at it again, and this time he's through. And Archer's short and awful innings is at an end. He's out for 1, and his head was not in the game this morning, I'm afraid. Jofra Archer, 256 for 8 as he's caught behind.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at?
And we'll use that break in proceedings caused by Jofra Archer's ineptitude to have a change up here in the comm box. Are we going to play a little jingle to do that?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do some begging.
Thank you very much.
Alternative cricket commentary. Bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
You've got to wonder where Jofra's head's at. Idolisation when he hit Smith. Decent last test. So this test, he's just not looked in it.
No, he hasn't been bowling it. His
no, he hasn't.
Pace is down, isn't it, a bit?
And good morning, Nestlers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, well, sorry, it's the morning session, so I always say morning before it's lunchtime, but it is officially past noon, and I shall be having a past noon beer very soon, I think.
I wonder if Archer's fully fit.
Well, there were questions saying that there were reports on that where his side injury has reoccurred, and he's feeling it.
God.
Dallas Nash says, much as I love GC, I miss the wit and wisdom of Bumble. Can't you persuade him to come over to the dark side? No, he's on the dark side.
I love Bumble too. But anyway, we've got a new batsman, and inevitably it's the ego.
If his stumps were knocked down, caught 5 feet off the ground, if he trod on his stumps, if God was one of the arms,
I mean, you really just should not be playing at that ball. I mean, as soon as it's short and it's reasonably wide, you just drop your hands and watch it through the keeper.
Utterly mindless.
It's absolutely mindless. England need 42 to avoid the follow on. They're 256 for 8. Broad is at the crease, but Butler is facing up now, and it's full by Lyon, who's on at the other end, and he clips that sweetly, but straight to around about mid-wicket, and there's no run.
This is becoming my other pet issue at the moment, is Broad batting above Leach. I cannot understand it.
Well, I don't mind that so much. I mean, 10 and 11, it's quite interchangeable.
We'd have won that last game by 2 wickets if they'd reversed it.
Well, Leach should be above Archer, shouldn't he?
That's full and wide outside the off stump, driven through cover, which they've left open for him. Obviously, they've got a ploy, but Butler's pretty good, and he kind of this might actually be a spur for Butler as he smashes that out to the extra cover boundary for 4 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I imagine it will get his juices flowing, Joss, here, actually. He's got 2 wickets and him.
Yeah.
He likes being a bit of a hero. Who doesn't? And he's certainly capable of adding 60-70 runs with the tail himself.
Was it Old Trafford where he scored that ton in the one-dayer last summer to complete the whitewash?
Yes.
To marshal the tail, and it was a 1-wicket victory.
Absolutely. And, there's a appeal there for he didn't play a shot. He sort of took his bat away. They're going to think about review. I don't think that's going to hit the stumps.
Probably too high again. We saw one like that earlier today.
I actually think it was too full and too wide. I don't think it was coming back enough, that one. They're going to talk about it. It's very difficult to judge.
They've gone for it. Well, I think they're chancing their arm here a little bit, but they may as well.
No, they lost one review earlier, didn't they?
That was definitely out. Was that definitely out? I don't know.
I think that was too full, and the ones that are a bit shorter...
it's just got to be hitting, isn't it? That's the thing.
It does have only to be hitting, but it can't be umpire's call.
No.
Let's have a look here.
Too high.
I think it's...
Oh, hang on a minute. Where's it? It depends where it's hitting.
Yeah.
It's hitting
It's
just
hitting there.
just on the thigh pad outside the off stump. The other consideration, Bear, as you say, has it turned enough to be hitting the stumps?
I don't think it has quite. Oh, I don't know.
It's missing, surely.
Ooh, it is
missing on height.
Over the top of off stump. So it would have been. It would have hit the stumps, but it was just going over. Impact no shot. So he didn't. It didn't matter that it was outside the off stump.
No reviews left again.
No.
Don't learn, do they? They don't learn.
They don't. They're pretty poor at reviewing, it has to be said. I mean, the one that he reviewed yesterday against, I think it was Root, Lion, again, back, and just guides that very fine down towards fine leg. Is the man going to get around from the long leg? He is not. That's 4 more runs. Good batting, Mr. Butler. 20 off 22. Second highest scorer. He's only got a 30, hasn't he? Other than this.
He's had a very lean series.
He has had
he's
a very
certainly
lean
struggling.
series.
Lots of people calling for his head.
I don't know who else replaces him though. I mean, he's still worth his. I think this is what I mean. If he was keeping him at 7, I'd be really happy.
I'd be happier. I still would like. I'd still prefer folks in the team. Keep banging that drum. But I suppose batsman-wise, you look at Sibley, Crawley, Ollie Pope.
You've got to give him a chance, haven't you? Really? That's full and clipped by Joss up to mid-on. There's no run.
But the fact is that England have gambled on certain players who've proven their worth in the one-day game, to be able to translate that into the Test match series, Test match cricket, and it's not worked in this series. Notably, Jason Roy and really at the moment Butler as well. You do have to look at the county championship as the only breeding ground, really.
Well, absolutely. But the problem is that
4-day cricketers, 5-day cricketers.
Bloody county cricket hardly goes on during the 2 months when the Test series is on. That's turned well too far down leg side. Not sure if it came off Butler's pads or Payne's pads. So it goes down to Warner, who's on the 45 on a single, and there ain't no run.
Roger Melly says Hitler did more than fuck up the name Adolf for all time. He also fucked up the toothbrush moustache. It was really popular before he came along.
The recently deceased tyrant Robert Mugabe was rocking that one for years, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, I think
perhaps in tribute. Who knows?
Jacob Rees-Mogg often looks like he's got one, doesn't he?
That's just a little bit of shit under his nose that explains his facial expression.
Jay Grover says,
"I'm sorry,
blimey, Archer is really having days like these. This match."
Yeah.
Just earlier, being in the green room, I've not done this before. Watching Wimbledon with Hendo.
Oh no!
I don't think I'd like to do that.
No, I'm quite pleased to be in here at the moment.
Well, you've got a bit of it coming up, haven't you?
I might pop out after this.
I often say to him that he should stay off the internet because it doesn't do him any good. Because he rants and raves about what people say on Twitter about everything.
I'm going to buy him a pastry.
I think he ought to stop following football.
He's a passionate man.
He's very angry.
I'm going to buy him a comforting pastry when I go out.
The only thing I will say in his defence is Wimbledon, having watched a bit of it with him, they do look poor.
Yeah.
And they are compounded. They're playing MK Milton Keynes.
Can someone bring me a beer, please, from the fridge?
I won't say the second part of the name because Hendo doesn't like it. But no, it was quite entertaining.
Well, Broad's going to face up. I imagine there'll be some full stuff and a little bit of short stuff. I often think with Broad, that's short. He gets it right on the back foot and plays it out to point. There's no run. If Broad can survive 20 balls, he looks all right. That's his problem. Essentially got pinged in the head. He takes a lot longer to get in than most other batsmen.
What I mean, can I just ask you, if you were captain of this side, would you have the batting order as is, or would you consider promoting Leach above him?
No, I think that Broad has a Test average of nearly 20.
An average that is based on lots of knocks from years ago.
No, it's not. He has scored some valuable 30s and 40s in the last couple of years. Look back at his Test record over the last 2 years.
No, I refuse.
Well, you can refuse if you like, but it's true. That's guided down towards the gully by Broad on the back foot, and there's no run. That year after he got hit in the face, he clearly lost it. But since then, I mean, I've seen. I think it may have been last summer, or it may have been India trying to bounce him. And there was an innings where he scored about 3 or 4 sixes, pinged over square leg in the same fashion that he used to.
He can do it. He can do it. But he's not got as good a technique as Jack Leach, and it's wrong that the order is as it is.
But he has the experience in the arena and weight of runs to prove it, I think.
So you wouldn't change the order?
No. I'm sorry, Graham. I'm not going to agree with you. Short, and that was silly mid off. That could have been quite interesting, but they've got a short leg.
We've got 2 people down there above Leach who have got, some. You say, people say Archer's very talented with the bat, and Broad's got runs in the past, but it's not happening, is it?
I'd like to do a Twitter poll, either an actual Twitter, and get our listeners to vote on that. Who would you bat at number 10 for England? Would it be Broad? Would it be Leach? In this current lineup, I want to see what. I want to take it to a public vote.
Leach is better than Archer.
Thank you very much, Nestlers, the voice of reason.
Note. Cummins is coming in.
Oh, look at that one.
It's gone over the top of Payne. Is it? It's wide. Short. And it's gone over the top of... well, I'll take them. 4 byes.
Oh. Not really, appropriate.
No one hit the ball, but it did go for 4 runs.
Wide. Jay Grover says, in vain and frankly out of character attempt to insert positivity. Hooray, Nestlers! Hooray, Jay.
Hooray. Oh, Nathan Nine's gone off.
Yep, Stark will be on.
Yeah, no, he's gone off the field. And
Neil
Cameron
Harris.
Bancroft is on as a sub-fielder.
Oh, that's interesting.
Suspicious. Short leg specialist.
Another short one down the leg side. Payne takes it. No need to play at that. Broad doesn't. No run.
Mark Fitzsimmons wants to know why Australia waste our reviews. Well, I suppose at this point in it, it's not really...
Well, no, I mean that one didn't look at. I mean that's a risky one. I mean it's always risky, and
this is ridiculous. Like saying, "Oh, we'll risk it." Then we know it's not out. We'll risk it. Well, that's bollocks. Then you're going to lose it.
Well, exactly, and they could have done with it in the last test.
Unless you think, "Oh, there's just a possibility that might be."
Well, the one they did against Root, it beat the outside edge. He'd gone right across the stumps. It beat him on the outside edge. It clearly looked like it was missing the off stump. Carrying on that line, it wasn't given out by the umpire. So the worst that could happen is you're going to get umpires call and you retain your review. That's the only thing I can think they were thinking. But you know, when you saw it, you thought, no, he's got way too far outside off stump.
Jay Grover sent Hendo a message about publican's celebration of Nigel Day last night. I hoped it would cheer him up.
Hendo was
no, because they were probably fucking Nigel Farage. They were thinking.
No, Hendo was talking to me about this. This publican called Nigel Smith, I think, or something. Was hosting this Nigel celebration. He wanted Nigel Slater to do the food. I said, what, Nigel Spackman as the after-dinner speaker, perhaps?
Full, he gets behind that, drops it out on the offside. That's a poor run, but Wade looks like he's hobbling a bit and didn't get him particularly quickly and didn't even look like he wanted to shy at the stumps. Well, the way that Broad went off very slowly was very deep in his crease. I thought that was probably worth a shy if he'd have got there quick enough, but he didn't. And Broad is off the mark with a single.
Roger Melly says Leach at 10.
You're right, Roger.
Martin says twat it to all points.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Yes.
Just twat the bloody thing.
You see, I think Butler's brain will be engaged in it, ticking about how am I going to manoeuvre it around the field, and I think that's probably a good thing because he maybe think about his position on the side and how he's done. It might be a case that he's thinking, right, how can I manoeuvre it around the field? We've got to avoid the follow-on and think about game management rather than his game. And hopefully, he says optimistically that'll bring him back into getting some runs and us getting another 50 or 60.
He's played a couple of nice shots in this short innings, 20 off 24 balls. He seems to be concentrating hard as well. He might.
Indeed. Cummins is in. Full wide outside off and slapped out to... I don't know how aerial that was, but I think it was wide of the fielder at backward point. It was full and it was wide and it deserved what it got, which is 4 runs behind point.
1 2 4 4 2 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Jonas says experience over the youth always.
What is that in regard to the batting lineup thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just a ludicrous argument.
Devin Wade says after that little stint from Joffre, I'd say you should put in anyone else with a pulse in front of him.
Yeah,
don't know what was going on with Joffre this game.
But for all the chatter, I haven't seen him do anything with the bat.
No, I haven't either, and I'm waiting to see it.
He made what turned out to be quite a useful 15 at Headingley, didn't he? He did smack a couple before he got out.
That was another no ball.
Yeah, he keeps getting away with these no balls, Cummins, and I think if you're the third umpire watching this, don't you instruct whoever it is? I mean, you can't. Well, maybe you can't, can you? But maybe that should be a change in how they approach it. Is that someone
just say it's a no ball, and
add it? Yeah.
And it was a no ball. You missed it.
And maybe just take it out of the on-field umpire's remit.
Well, I think it should
because at the moment, some umpires look, some don't. Some do it all the time. Some do it part of the time. It seems ridiculous to me. It's either part of the on-field umpire's job to watch for those, or it isn't. And I would be of a mind to take it out of their hands.
What's going on with Broad here?
He's got some injury to his left elbow, or just below the elbow, the radius or something.
Did he get hit?
No, I didn't see that actually, but it looks fairly painful. Oh, he's got a little scabber.
Carpet burn.
Yeah.
Julian Price asks, ball going to swing more now?
I don't know. It's not swung a lot all game.
And Woy Woy Pom is with Beardy Ed and sends a picture of...
they're at some beer fest, aren't they?
Beardy Ed.
In Leeds.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Nestlers is draped in black and all. Is this some middle-aged, portly goth reunion festival?
Yeah, well, I'd be up for that.
I wear black on the
outside.
I've got green trousers on, Jay.
Dark green. What colour would you call that?
The fall T-shirt, yeah.
Fall?
The fall.
Oh, nice. Did you see the documentary about the fall on BBC 4?
I have, yeah.
It's very good,
The
wasn't
wonderful and frightening world of Martin
I mean,
Smith.
yes, a world that only he inhabited.
Oh, God. What a character.
Real, genuinely odd man.
Barry Goodman says, definitely Leach over Broad, despite Broady's 3-1-3-2 test runs, and maybe Broad would respond in a Bairstow-esque way to being pushed down. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I wholly believe it's entirely to do with the management's pandering to his ego and not wanting to dent it by batting him at 11.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've said enough.
You said your piece. Jay Grover says, is Jofra a lizard who can only function when the sun is out? And Martin
No.
says Broad is a rank number 11 these days, can twat it but no proper defence, unlike Leach.
Yep, all true, all true.
I disagree entirely.
Well, let's see how he does against Lyon here. He might have to defend one or two. Adidas make his bat look.
They don't.
They sponsor it.
Yes.
Sponsored
No,
by
it looks like they made it, doesn't it? It's exactly where the maker was. The maker's name.
What does that
They're
mean?
in that position.
Oh, it's got Newbury on the back as well, isn't it? It goes forward, defends out through past the second slip to a short backward point. But they scramble through for a single.
Well played.
Well played indeed.
Evil Scooter says, I'd definitely have Leach at 11. Always put the most defensively able tail ender you have last and draw the innings out as long as possible.
Who said that?
Evil Scooter.
Well, I like your thinking, Evil. If he can, if he can defend 17 balls and Stokes can get 70 at the other end, if Butler does the same here, he gets one run and Butler gets another 70, England get 340. The deeper England get beyond the follow-on, as Butler just works that behind square on the leg side down to long leg and as a single.
Happy to bring Broad back on strike there.
The longer that Australia have to bat, the easier it becomes for England to get a draw. You know.
James Humberston says, I think both Jofra and Bairstow exhibited good shot selection. Had they kept their eyes open, they'd probably still be in.
Yeah.
No,
Jofra just wafted at that one. That was a poor shot.
And Bairstow, as usual, getting bowled through the gate.
I mean, it was a good ball by Starr. I mean,
it was a good ball.
It was nearly 90 miles an hour.
But it exposed a technical flaw.
Well, it did expose a technical flaw. That's short, too short, as Lyon bowls quite a flat delivery. And Broad goes back and prods it out to point. There's no run. That ball goes straight on. He's playing the line for it to go straight on, which, if you looked at the replays, the ball before went straight on.
But
and
if his defence is tight, he's got his bat next to his pad and he's got his pad outside the off stump.
Exactly.
Line off stump.
Well, that's true.
If.
A lot of ifs there, yeah. Broad leaves that one. It's wide outside his off stump, turns sharply further wide, and no need to play on it. It's a bit too short by Lyon. Did Lyon just go off to make Bancroft short leg? Is that all, do you think, for one over or something?
Yes.
Broad, I'm sure Punter would be happy with that. It's again too wide and too flat, too short. Length not right by Lyon here. None for 81, 31.5 over, 31.5 over. Last ball of the over, gets forward this time.
Beauty.
And Payne does that annoying thing. Is that who gets annoyed by that? Is that you?
No, I don't mind that.
No, you don't mind that. There's someone who gets really annoyed by it.
Keepers. I was a keeper, remember?
Yeah. Keepers taking off bails when the back foot hasn't moved, which is one of those.
It's probably Hendo.
It's just, it's just a kind of reflex thing,
I
isn't
think
it?
it is, yeah.
Well, it's worth a go.
He did drag his foot a little bit, but I don't think it ever crossed the line.
Aussie Perspective say Tim Payne clearly comes from the Shane Warne school of DRS revision. And Jay Grover says Grubby's been remarkably waspish today. Who's shitting his breakfast chips?
I've not had a beer yet, Jay. Not had a beer yet. So.
Also, Broad.
I've now had 3 and I'm feeling fine.
Broad at 10, he says.
My rage.
See, that's going to make me angrier. Waspishlier.
My rage has been sated.
Captain.
So you agree with me now?
No.
Captain on Cricket says Australia is dominating. But now they don't depend on reviews.
Well, they can't depend
Got
on
none
reviews.
left, have they?
No. Butler's on 25 or 26. It's a one-day innings. 276 for 8. England are. Broad's on 2. He goes on the back foot and forces out up to mid-off. No run. That's Butler facing Cummins, who's got 2 for 58 of 22, 22.1 overs. England just need a 322 to avoid the follow-on.
Be interesting if England do lose those last 2 wickets before that now to see what Australia would do.
I don't think they would take it.
No, I personally don't either. I think you bat for 40 overs, score 200, and then.
You try. Of course, the other option is that England bowl them out for a paltry total like 50 and then require 250 to win.
and then the Ben Stokes man of the match bet is back on.
Absolutely. Plus, I've got £1 on at 2 different bookies, a total of odds of 100.
Have you?
21 to 1 that England will win. Or 111. Oh, that's full. And is there a half appeal? I don't know if you got bat or that was boot. They've got no reviews left. Umpire didn't give it out. And he looks at the bottom of his bat. And looks like he jabbed his bat on it. And there's no run.
Bit of a bluff there, because they brought that man in to short extra cover where Butler was caught, wasn't he? That's another no ball, by the way. Fuck me, they've got to sort that out.
Well, I mean, we can't see because the Cummins in front.
Well, you can't see from behind, but when you see it from side on,
I mean, it looks like a no ball.
But it was a bit of a bluff. Sorry, I was just saying, because they brought that man into short extra where Butler was caught in the last game or the one before. And then he bowled him. He might be expecting one outside off, but he bowled him a full one outside leg.
That is a no ball. I mean, it's a lot
tight
closer.
one.
It's a tight one. It's a lot closer than what we thought.
Yeah, but the fourth umpire should be in the ear hole, shouldn't
Well, yeah.
That should be the rule.
Well, that's on the hip of Butler, who clips it nicely out to the deep mid wicket.
I think there's got to be. I think it's got to be a change in the rule, or whatever they talk about it, because I don't think at the moment it's in the remit of the third or fourth umpire to. I'm getting some clarification, but I don't think it's in their remit to say unless it's on a ball where a wicket's been taken.
Yes.
So hang on a sec. Both the BCCI in Indian domestic cricket and the ICC in selected limited over series will be trialling a camera automatically to detect no balls, watched by the third umpire, who will relay the no ball call to the on-field umpire. These trials will happen later this year. Well, good, because I think that would be a good addition to the game for every ball. Makes sense. We've seen at least 4 this morning, something like that. And it's not right, because even though you don't take a wicket off it as a fielding team, you are gaining certain amount of advantage.
And not only that, if you keep calling that bowler, it's going to get in his head as well, which may alter the way he bowls, which may make it easier for the batsman.
You can't get away with it. It's not right.
21 to avoid the follow-on. 2, 7, 7 for 8. But he's in. Is Cummins short to Broad? He has 2 balls to face in this over. Ducks underneath that one that suit the keeper. There's no run.
Another bit of bluffage there. They brought a man in
at short leg.
And also a man in at sort of short, a short mid-off. So he might have been expecting a full one to try and get him trapped there, but again,
I think Broad expects a lot of short stuff, doesn't he? He always has since he got hit. People have tried out a lot on him.
Clary McSwery reckons that the wicket of Denley 2 days ago might have been one as well.
A no ball.
Oh, well, that would have been interesting.
Well,
they haven't done enough checking of front ball. I think it should be an automatic thing that they check for a front no ball. Oh, he's got hit there. Broad has just, and it's a no ball. He has been called finally.
Matthew Brown says a strategically placed tripwire could solve these no ball issues.
Over the line!
Along with a claymore.
Okay, you were over the line. That's a foul.
Last call for the GPL, everyone. We've had a few entries today. Yeah. The pot is up around the late £120 mark.
And that's a big no ball. That's well over the line.
Yeah, nothing actually on the line even.
No.
So yeah, last call for the GPL. Go to GorillaCricket.com. Register if you haven't already registered. Guess the total number of runs you think will be scored today. It'll cost you the princely sum of £1 per guess. And how many have England scored so far today? I think 215 overnight. Is that right? So 63 so far. So how many will be scored? You've got 2 minutes left. So get on your bikes and do that.
3 minutes left.
3 minutes left.
Well, it all goes by the computer.
It's giving a false deadline as usual.
Yes, absolutely. Cummins is in, bowl short again, and Broad gets squared up but pulls his hands inside it and goes through to the keeper, and there's no run. That should be 1 for the over.
Marcus Hook.
2 for the over there again.
He's noticed the no balling too when Sky Cricket shows side-on slow motion replays. It's obvious that a no ball has been bowled.
Yeah, he's pulled his foot right back there.
His foot was right behind the line that time, Cummins.
Roy at 10 for me, says Dave Wood. Having Leach at 11 is a good ploy, says Ravi Nair. If Broad or Archer were last man, we'd have no hope. Leach is our last man standing. Allows us, England and Wales fans, last gift from the Pandora's box.
So bat him at 11 because he's a better batsman. That is nonsense.
Cummins short into Broad, who knocks it past short leg. who is Labuschagne, and there ain't no run.
And Rob Wildman's
the over
on the no ball thing says, I honestly have no idea why this hasn't been brought in years ago. Well, like a lot of things. Dystopian reality.
Ooh, I like
that. Is that what we're in today?
I think so. At the very least, a message to the umpire. Aussie dressing room should be doing the same lest he not to get a wicket.
Oh, as in to say, watch out for it because he is overstepping.
Yeah.
Well, I
is
can't
it checked on every wicket? Because it was funny, wasn't it, when they checked on Leach, but they didn't. I wonder, because exactly that, we've been saying this from since Australia have been bowling, and Stark's an overstepper as well. I just think it's one of those things that should be checked on every wicket,
every ball.
Well, every ball's ideal, but certainly if it happens on a wicket, it should be checked.
Jay Grover met Marquis Smith once. He was very drunk.
Both of you, presumably.
He threw a punch at my mate once.
Marvellous. More of that later, and this man's coming on to bowl.
Not a lot to say, really, apart from he threw a punch at him.
He's had no swing.
Apart from when he got Johnny B out earlier today.
And his first ball to Butler is outside off stump full and doesn't swing. No run.
No swing since Cape Town.
Dickie Bird looking real trendy in some sort of,
University of Huddersfield.
University.
I wonder if he's got an honorary doctorate from the University of Huddersfield.
It's got sort of a vertical trendy zip on the offside.
On the offside. On the offside of the jacket. I love that. Yeah, I bet he loves a freebie, Dickie.
Yeah. And a furry collar. Squared up a little bit is Butler, and he's not taken a single to start for Broad.
Last over before lunch.
Last over before lunch, of course.
I was jigging around at a full gig with Marquis Smith's mum and his sister once.
Really?
Yeah, it was very strange.
Look at that.
What are they like as people?
Frank Hayes. Yeah. Frank Hayes, Test career, 9 matches, 17 innings, no 50s, but 106 not out.
Wow.
So that's obviously Frank Hayes, next to whom Dickie Bird is sitting. Yeah, I bet he loves a freebie, right?
Oh, yeah.
He loves one.
How old is Dickie Bird now?
He's got to be in his late 70s.
What?
If not early 80s.
Late 80s, surely. I mean, he was an old umpire when I was watching in the 80s.
I'll check for you.
You do that. Start in, bowls. Oh, wow. That's a good lead by Butler. That wasn't too far off his off stump. He did come back in a little bit. No run.
Devon Wade apologised to British and Aussie listeners who this is probably obvious to, but when a follow-on is declared, does the declaring team receive another batting innings if the other team reaches their total?
Yeah.
Or do they essentially forfeit their second innings?
You're sorry, you're right, by the way. 86 he is. 86 Dickie Bird. He's all right. He's still got a bit of zhuzh in him, hasn't he?
Yeah. What did you say? Late 70s?
Yeah, well, I was 7 years out.
Insane. Stark in. Oh, wow. That's beating the inside edge of Butler's bat as it's come back into him. He plays outside the line of his off stump, and there's no run. No reviews left Australia now, of course.
Dan Curtis says, why teams don't tell their non-striking batsmen to watch every ball? I'll never know. So simple. If they spot a no ball, they call for a review, whether it's out or not. It's 3 runs and would save X number of wickets.
I don't think you can call for a review on a no ball, can you?
In general.
Just in general, you could call for a review. Even if you're caught behind, you say, I want to review it. Even if it's obvious, you could review it. And have
I'm talking about on every ball, though.
No, true, but on a wicket, certainly. I guess you're not thinking about that. It's not your job as it's an extra job to make your mind think about. Leaves that one alone. Butler street to keep no run.
Roger Melly wants another umpire standing either mid-on or mid-off. The umpire at the stumps would only then have to watch the trajectory of the ball, and you'd get better LBW decisions and less time
Just have a fucking laser going.
We've got 4 umpires already.
Yeah, no, but the guy who's watching the footage we're watching, we can see them. Just get in the ear hole of the umpire and say that was
all you need is a laser line going across the back of the front line, and as long as it's cut, it doesn't ping. If it pings, they've missed the front of the line, left alone again by Butler.
But you don't need that bit. All you need is the ICC to say it's allowed or it's instructed for the third umpire to look at every ball, and if there's a no ball, it is called as a no ball. He relays it down. It takes 2 seconds to look at.
It doesn't stop the game.
I should only imagine it's a bit of red tape, a bit of bureaucracy. They're not allowed to do that at the moment. Why it takes so long for these things to be introduced?
It doesn't stop.
I do not know.
It doesn't stop the game or anything, does it? It doesn't. We're off.
That's lunch.
That's lunch.
Thank God for that. I can go get some beer and calm down.
Well, you can go and listen to Hendo ranting.
No.
Rennie Keeter says electronic no ball detection would be much easier if the foot had to be behind the line. As it is, a big-footed bowler gets further down the track without no balling.
Are you looking for
Yeah, I am.
iTunes?
Where
It's
do I
on
go
the
to?
desktop.
Where?
You have to.
Jay Grover says vertical trendy zip sounds like a Fall lyric.
Vertical trendy
zipper.
Ow! Nice, that was good, that.
Dickie Bird must have an honorary doctorate in being a stereotypical Yorkshireman, says Paul Kent.
Oh,
Huddersfield
definitely.
University would be the perfect place to dish that out.
University of Huddersfield. It was near Huddersfield where I actually saw Dickie in a hotel once.
Well, there's a couple of starts there, isn't there? 22 for Roy, 26 for Stokes, 17 for Bairstow.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough. You've got starts, you've got in. You should be moving on.
Hey, Nestlers, do you want to form a fall tribute band? Be quite
Do you
good,
know
wouldn't it?
there is a...
You can be Bricks.
Well, I went to see Bricks, and she's got, at the moment, she's got the bass player, Steve Hanley, in the band, and she had the drummer as well. And they play some full songs.
Oh, I wouldn't mind getting Mark Riley back in.
Riley.
He's good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he has some good stories about the fall.
He
There's some
does.
great books about... There's one called The Fallen, which is... The guy went and tried to find every single ex-member, which is, over 100 people.
Yes.
Yeah, he's constantly changing his line, wasn't he? He sacked everybody left, right and centre.
Oh, yeah. Well, he used to say it's him and his granny, it's the fall.
Right, so we're going to go to some highlights. What do you want?
God, Sri Lanka versus England, third test last year.
Well, why not? Give it
third ODI.
Yeah, that'll do.
Do you want that? No, that doesn't sound very good. What else should we have? Well, should we? One of the old favourites.
What about snooker?
Ireland versus Pakistan from Malahide last year.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.